Hello and welcome to Nollywood Film Club. I'm Mr. C of Ruka Critic, and I know it's long. We did have a lot to say. It is a long, limited series, in fairness. And what a way to celebrate 150 episode on the podcast. No, with this very long episode, but you can listen in parts. But yeah, we've come a long way. But I'm sure you'll enjoy Nollywood Film Club discussing To Kill a Monkey.
Oh, all right. Welcome to Nollywood Film Club. We discuss Nollywood or Nollywood topics every Sunday, 6 p.m. Watts. Today we're going to be discussing To Kill a Monkey. We'll discuss what we like in the good. We'll discuss what we don't like in the bad. We'll disagree and push back, and we will do a summary at the end. All right. So, there's time more.
Accurate timekeeper today.
It's time. All right. Vanessa, please tell us what you liked about To Kill a Monkey.
Sure. I don't even think you people need to give me time because, to be honest, I don't. I don't have that much to say. I say this and then we'll potentially have much more to say in the bad. But the good. I think without a doubt, the performances in this. I think specifically William Benson and Bushi Franklin. And to all of you who perhaps this is your first introduction to William Benson, welcome. We eat good over here. Um, not only is he incredibly beautiful, he is incredibly talented. I was at a party yesterday, and when I walked in, they had it on the screen. Mind you, I'd already watched this on Friday. And I was like, that man is fine. And they're like, what do you mean he's fine? And, we had to go digging for non-poverty versions of William Benson. And their eyes were open to the realities. But more so, I think, I can't remember who I said acted with their mouths or their cheeks and tensions. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I can't remember who I was speaking of. William Benson acts with his eyes. His eyes are incredibly expressive. And it's not the one where somebody's just shining eyes. No. William Benson's eyes are, he rolls them, he enlarges. You can see pupils dilate. I don't know how he does it, but he does it incredibly well. I think something else that he does very well, especially in the first couple episodes of this, is how he holds himself. Because in the conversation with the people who I was saying William Benson is fine, I was like, he's incredibly tall, and they're like, no, he does not give tall. I said, because he's acting. He's doing this thing where, due to his status in life, he's sort of made himself look smaller. It's almost like he shrinks into his shoulders. And it was an incredible performance. I think someone else who gave, obviously, an incredible performance and always gives an incredible performance is Bushi Franklin. I think these two are incredibly consistent, and I don't think anyone expected anything less. Bucci, and some people might say, is he being typecast? No, I do think Bucci is incredibly versatile, but Bucci was made for this. The Edo accent, the Edo pidgin, Bucci is not an Edo guy, but I mean, would you know? He ate down, and it was fantastic. Stella Damascus was in her lane. I think if you know Stella Damasus, you know this was easy breakfast for Stella Damasus. She was just doing what she does. Um, who else was pretty? You know what, guys and girls, those of you who love Shine Roseman, our baby did good. Our
Thank you,
baby
thank you,
did
thank you.
good. Our girl did good, and as a Shine Roseman stan who's been trying to preach the gospel of Shine Roseman, hey, who is that that's coughing? Shine Roseman did fantastic. I liked Shine Roseman in this. Nollywood, cast my baby. She did try. You know, you know who else surprised me? Lillian Afegbai. And before someone jumps down my throat and says, "Have you not watched Akanchawa Badi?" I have not. I don't have any intention of watching it. But I think Lillian Afegbai was surprisingly okay in this. She did pretty good. I liked her as Idia. Every time she said my husband, I said yes, I agree. Your husband. I thought it was great. What else did I like? I guess I like the. I have crime fatigue. I have Nollywood crime fatigue. So I don't want to say I like the premise of this, but I guess I do like a grass to grace to grass story, if you get what I mean. It almost felt like that's giving it too much. I wanted to say it almost feels like a full circle, but um but yeah, I think the performances were really what stood out in this. The production value for a lot of it was really good. But I think that goes without saying with Kemi. Uh yeah, that's it.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Almost easy over 5 minutes to be honest, but after
Because I was extolling beauty. I don't know what you want from me.
all
Actually, let
right,
me use the remaining to say all the women were gorgeous.
Stunning.
all right.
Stunning.
Thank you. Otas, please tell us what you liked about To Kill a Monkey.
Sure, sure, sure. Um, Richie Franklin, I think first and foremost, he is generally really good in everything he does, but he did, what's the word I'm looking for here? He embodied, that's the word, this character, I think, truly from bad to good. Um, eh, the characterization of a buzz, I think, is neither here nor there, but the way he carries the role and sells you on it is definitely 10 over 10. William Benson as well. I think he plays this badly written anti-hero very well. Um, and he's able to take you through a range of emotions from the beginning when he's destitute till, well, the end when he's destitute again, to be fair. Um, so the acting in general is good. I think the top four characters I spend the most time with are convincing, and the top four for me, as far as who I think are the top four characters, is William Ferris Bucci, Stella, and Bimbo. I think. And then I also thought it was wonderful to see Stella and Bimbo again acting. First of all, acting together. It's been a while, but also just acting as a whole. Stella is still a bad bitch. I'm sorry. I know she's like my aunt, so I should be calling her auntie or something, but she needs to leave those men alone and let me love her properly. Um, I think the show, rather, its series has a lot of heart and attempts some complex subjects, like the grief Bimbo is going through relatively well, and the way they kind of execute it for the most part, and um, healing from it and all of that. What else? I like the story. I like crime stories. So I like this story. I like the intent of the story. I thought that it had a lot of really juicy bits. Um, Whether they were cooked properly is neither here nor there, but it had a lot of really juicy bits, and it had a lot of heart, I think, in many episodes. And honestly, so many beautiful people. Person who plays Amanda, gorgeous girl. His daughter, gorgeous girl, Evie. Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous. The guys, at least two of them were gorgeous. So yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Otas. Elizabeth, please tell us what you like about To Kill a Monkey.
Okay, what do I like? First, FAE is a delightful, equal opportunity flirter. Like, seeing a different side to him later on, I really love that. And the casting was perfect for me, as the kids would say. The A left no crumbs. The actors are incredibly skilled, at least most of them. So specific standouts for me, William Benson was made for the big screen. Idia gave me so much joy as a character. Like, love her nails. Like, every time she shows her nails, I'm like, that's my girl. When the character introduction for her, when she came out and she was shaking her nails, I was like, what's going on here? I was thrilled. I was like, I like this character already. Stella, of course, everybody talked about it. That's like Queen Stella. She will cry. And another thing, another person, she didn't last on the screen. Omeche shined in the few seconds that she was on screen. Like the few seconds that she was on screen, I'm like, that's my girl. Um, my number one girl. See, all my haters, people that say Shine cannot act, look at God. Look at God. Look at vindication. Ah, God. I stood up throughout. Every time I see her screen, I just stand up, I just clap. For her beauty, if nothing else. She was just killing that role. The camera sometimes, I mean, had its moments. Especially when it's the close up is on Obuz. Obuz does some things with his face. I'd rather look at Obuz than look at Efe. And for the most part, arguably, this series' most compelling element for me is the exploration of social dynamic interaction through the lens of class and status. Big. The theme, especially, you can see it woven through nearly every single interaction here. I thought that was so important because you start picking on it after a while. The interaction between Efe and Obuz, but most especially, you'll notice a lot of the subtle class divides and even like the power play divides. Obuz and his babe, there, you see some form of like they're on the same level when they speak to each other. Efe and Obuz, Efe, before he became big and started speaking big English, kneeling down, bending down, calling him bros, guy. This was somebody that used to come to your cyber cafe, but you don't big past you. And you see that and he calls him brotherly, even though his dashi is he tied him to a boat and drove him out. It was gonna whatever him. But you know, he never fails to call that brother. We'll come to that later. But then you see Efe and Nosa when they're speaking to each other, only speaking in pidgin. That was how they were previously, right? Even when he got rich, but it wasn't like that with Shine Rosman's character. In fact, every single time you see them together, they give this refreshing, classed couple. They look so polished, so clean. But this is not what Efe looked like with Nosa. Nosa and Idia, Nosa and a purchasing customer. Nosa is big now. Look at the way she spoke to that customer who didn't have money, whose husband. Like, you see all of this bubbling, you know, this subtle class, not even subtle, this class divide. It's subtle in the sense that you assume everybody's on the same level now. They have some kind of money that they are spending, but even the interaction, even you look at some interaction between the inspector and her before friend, before she demoted her and all of that. I thought that was a really good thing to put into the writing, especially around transactional relationship, power, class divide, and all of that. So I think that's all that I liked about this.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Elizabeth. Do you want to help us with the things you liked about To Kill a Monkey?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Please, can you hear me clearly?
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, for me, I really liked the score in the movie. The sound pattern matched the mood. I think they really did a good job on that score. And for me, the actress I really enjoyed, as much as our screen time was limited to like the first two episodes, was Madame Adoni. She really delivered that role. Her facial expressions. She didn't show so much, but she was phenomenal in the few episodes that she appeared in. I enjoyed the conversations, the tensions that came from the conversations. When you look at Obos and Ife, when you look at the superintendent and the inspector, you look at Ife and Nosa, Ivie and Nosa, you could see the hypocrisy jumping out of Ife and Nosa when they were having conversations, both of them trying to push the blame on one another. And like Elizabeth said, Shine Roseman and William Benson, they really gave a Nepo baby couple kind of vibe. It was different with her. He came with his A-class game. We could hardly reconcile the Ife in the beginning with the Ife with Amanda. And I think that was the challenge they had in casting that role at first. I've tried to visualize several Nollywood actors transitioning from episode 1 to episode 7 in the same bit of stretch, and I've had difficulty picturing it. And I think that was one of the best things about the movie. The acting was solid, the score was beautiful, the thematic, they stayed on theme. And that's it for me. They stayed on theme. You could pick out a thematic preoccupation from the scenes and you could tie the theme to one. Every interaction focused and went to the same thing. You could see it, you could feel it, and you could hear, and you could, you could take it from expressions, you could take it from the way, even their body language spoke it. So I really think that the acting, the thematic preoccupation, the score, and of course the visuals. The visuals was really, 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 really good. Of course, I'll talk about the story. So the story was really nice. Yeah, maybe in the middle they elevated one or two things a little bit, but I think the story was good. I think the ending was perfect. People have said that, oh, if he should have gone away. I think no, for Iwe, if his self-righteousness and all his sanctimonious attitude, that was what he deserved because he didn't wise up when everybody was wising up. So I really think that the ending for each of the characters were perfect because that is what their character gave from the beginning. It would have been quite anticlimactic for Ife to have escaped because it did not show any agency basically in that route of being a criminal. And we could see the build up of the hate between Evie and his father and Evie and her father, and it was not surprising what she did at the end of the day. Shine Roseman I told her from the beginning, she's only here for a good time, and she delivered her part excellently. Idia, enjoyable character, Akanchawa Badi. I really, really would say that this casting was a good ensemble. And if they were giving an ensemble casting award, I'll give it to them. And I've been refreshing from what we've seen from the first half of the year in Nollywood. It has been quite refreshing, a fresh perspective, something to actually, be proud of, I would say, in that action realm. And that is my opinion, and that's what I like, or those are the things I like about this movie, or this series rather. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Who's next? Ndaka, do you want to tell us what you liked about To Kill a Monkey?
Yes, I want to. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so, okay, let me calm down because I think I wrote down some stuff here. I went in expecting a spectacle and it was delivered. I like when the spectacle is well done. And I think it boils down to the following thing. The theme, for example. I like when you tell we know the theme and you follow through and you deliver in the end. I'm tired of like, oh my God, the film veered off in the middle and became like an action something. It did not happen. We just followed. We went in there, yes, and we knew for a fact that if it was going to betray Bucci Franklin at some point, right? It was, from the beginning, the way they met, everything. And it followed through. It kept us there. And when that betrayal finally happened, when that, I literally jumped. I was jumping because I knew it was a well delivered. You said you do a setup and then you deliver it. Thank you so much. I enjoyed that. There was another theme in that. I think a sub-theme about class. Yes, about how if he, for example, essentially thought he was a better person just because he could speak better English than Obos. That's literally the way he based his betterness from. Because he thought he could speak English and can internalize and can think of and rationalize his nonsenseness. That's where he thought, and all of that because he finished school and came out with first class. He mentioned it in his intro message, that thing they always do in the films now, the narration he did in the beginning, yeah. So just because he came out with first class, he thought that was, from that basis, was automatically a better person than Obos, which ultimately is why he did not mind betraying him and letting him die. I love Gucci Franklin's performance here. A Boss That Boss would have just been a stock character because we've done plenty crime dramas with huge villainy anti-hero characters, right? So A Boss That Boss would have just been any of them at this point, right? But Gucci Franklin literally is this A Boss That Boss. He lives and breathes, like, look at his fingers, look at his hand, look at whenever he does it, I'm like, yes, this guy used to be a bad dude before. Like, this guy don't suffer. Like, I believed it. And then William Benson brings this, yes, this coward. He never stands straight. Like, he's never puffs out his chest. You just know, like, he's a coward inside. He just brings, even at every point, like, so good. These two were my best performances. I loved Idia. That was my favorite character. There was this little run she does at the first few times she appeared. She just runs into the scene with her fingers, and I'm like, yes, yes, I want to be your friend, whoever you are. Yes, I talked about Efe, a bloody coward. Yeah. I like the tropes. It's a bit tropey. Yeah, it's a crime drama. So, but I like that the tropes were actually played out. For example, the crazy policewoman trope, they really use that character. They really use that trope properly. Use them, like, they rinsed the hell out of that trope. I like it, right? All those elements are there in the story and you actually allow it to play out. Is it a bit wonky sometimes? It's not that bad. It's better that it's there than you just kill off your assassin before they actually get the chance to. I'm making a reference to the terrible one from Black Book. Sorry. Let me go back on plot. Finally, I really like how opulent and maximalist the set design is. Especially A Boss That Boss's home. It's beautiful. A Boss That Boss may not know how to speak English like Efe, but he has better tastes. And that is all I have to say. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Thank you, Nduka. Howard, do you want to tell us some of the things you liked about To Kill a Monkey?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. One of the things I liked about To Kill a Monkey, and the first thing, so I saw the movie right after I saw James Gunn's tweet about how putting the 12 minutes talking scene in Superman was like one of the most difficult decisions he had made in his career. And so when I started to watch this series, I was really paying attention to the dialogue. And then a lot of it felt like more natural than we are used to, or I am used to at least. Especially that scene with Shine Rosman where she was telling him about her family and all of that. I don't know how many minutes it is. I don't think it was up to 12 minutes, or it could have been more. But then I remember I was hooked on it, and I was like, oh, okay, so if James Gunn thinks this is a difficult thing to do, then perhaps it was difficult, and then I should give them their flowers for that. I liked also in that scene that when she talked about her brother's medical condition, it seemed to be natural. Like a lot of dialogue felt natural. Unlike where in like most movies where you're talking about something technical that you don't understand, it tends to sound very I'm reading a scripty. Oh, sorry ma, your child has multiple serves, and then they say rubbish. And then you're like, okay, if you could have just researched it, like it's not that hard. I also liked the dialogue where Oboz was talking to his guys about what's his name, about Efe, about how he met him and all of that. I thought that was also very great. I liked his acting in that entire scene from when he said the story to when Efe started to beg and he was looking at him. I thought his acting there was impeccable because you could literally see him doing so many magnificent things with his face. I liked the story, the premise of the story at least. I don't know whether it fully delivered, but I did like the premise of the story. I like that they attempted to have like these very rounded characters. And a couple of scenes as well to like fully rounded characters. I remember that scene where Bimbo finds out that her entire family is dead, and she doesn't find out with like this very trite phone call saying, "Oh, hello, man, sorry, your family is dead," even though that's what happened eventually. I mean, like just that she went to they showed her family. She went to her mother-in-law's house or her mother's house, whichever, and then that was where she got the news. I just felt it made it more human, and there were a lot of human elements with the story. Um, I like William Benson. I invested in William Benson stocks since Unbroken on African Magic when he was MU. I remember he said one line that time, and I was like, ah. He said, why sleep when you can die? It's a very foolish line, but I remember when I heard it, I was like, bruh, that's so great. And I'm very glad that my stocks are vested. He was like he even though he was like he wasn't very well written. There were a lot of, anyway, that's like for the Tasha, but a lot of shortfalls. But I think for what he was given, he did the best with it. And of course, I liked Pucci Franklin. I don't know that I can say more than anybody else has said. I think he was phenomenal. I was up with him. I was down with him. Even when he was doing anything, I'm like, we're here for a good time, not a long time. Let the man go. And then I liked that the cast was incredibly sexy. I thought it was a very sexy cast, not just in terms of like their faces, in terms of their acting. I thought everybody brought their A game, and then in terms of their faces as well, they all had chemistry with each other. Whether it's William Benson and Bucci Franklin, William Benson and his wife, they had chemistry when they needed to have chemistry. He had chemistry with Sharon Rosman when he needed to have chemistry with her. He had chemistry with his daughter. It felt very real. The whole cast, like the police, Shana, Body Cop, whatever, they had like great chemistry as well. I just thought the cast had chemistry, except like Chidi Mokeme. I don't know what was in that film, but everybody else had like great chemistry, and they were all very great. And that's it for me.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thanks, our Alana. Do you want to tell us what you like about To Kill a Monkey? Alana is pausing her show. All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, oh God, I'm not in my book. However, the things I liked a lot of things. First of all, I liked the actors. Everybody brought their A game. Like, I kept on pausing to clap when everyone showed up. I mean, just listening to Enado, listening to Shine Roseman especially, I really just enjoyed the dialogue with two of them. I liked how they were able to weave pidgin and English in the dialogue, so people could just like incredible. I laughed so hard with so many things he said. I Mech's character was talking about, oh, I read somewhere, and he was like, I don't know, say you did read, though. I actually paused to laugh. And then when, if he was telling him, I appreciate what you've done for me, and he was like, don't mention. I just genuinely died with that scene. I liked, the manager, Aduni. I liked Aduni a lot. I appreciated seeing, not like
Sorry.
with the
Just
female
me.
boss and
Is it just me, Alana is cutting off, or everybody can always hear her?
There are some brief
It's
pauses in
okay.
between.
Yeah. Alana, you keep on cutting off for some weird reason. We're hearing you clearly, but you do cut off. Let's try going off and coming back on again. Mrs. Please restart. Pause her time for her. Alana, try going off and coming back on again so that we hear you. All right. Nollywood must change.
I was saying that I liked the characters in this.
Uh,
I like the Obo's character. I think I've said that before. I've said that before, yeah.
Yeah. Wait.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
Let's have
Let's
another
not
go.
be
No,
so
as long as go on.
Okay. And yeah, I liked that we got layered characters with this. Like it wasn't, neither of them was perfect. Nobody was actually perfect in this movie. It was just a bunch of hypocrites, you know. And it was a lot of do as I say, not do as I do. And you could see with what's his name? With Effie. If he was one moment he was selling himself for his job, and then the next moment he's acting all holier than thou, and it was the same thing with Obos. So I like that these were characters that you could root for in one scene, and then the next scene you are just cursing them out. I liked being back into line this. I liked how she portrayed grief. I liked that they showed the whole idea of her children haunting her, because it's something that you could possibly see happening with a mother who loses her entire family in that way. And yeah, let me know. Okay, that's as much as I can remember for now. I didn't get my book, so yeah, those are the things I like most.
Okay, all right, thank you. Nollywood must change. Please tell us what you liked about Killer Monkey.
Thank you for jumping over me a lot of times. Okay, what do I like about To Kill a Monkey? Like everybody has said, the performances, some were great and some were good. You know, you barely have any performance that you not like. I have one performance that I don't like. I'll get to bad, and I know that it will cause wahala. So, uh, Buchi Franklin, this is the first time I would like, okay, this is stellar acting. He has been good. You know, I really don't care. He's not one of my bad actors. Like, oh, I can't watch this actor. Or this actor is bad, something. But I kind of now agree that okay, yeah, this guy is good. I mean, he's great. So, the person who played Ife, he has always been great. Even when the script is bad, he's always, you know, doing his thing. Yeah, and then I kind of like Idia, the person who played Idia in this, it was like a comic relief for the whole thing, you know. And this lady, the lady that played the hospital manager, like the hospital, you know, administrative officer, like I kind of one thing about I like about this series is that the face off, the dialogue, especially between Mo and our boss, and then he and the hospital administrative officer. I kind of like the face of when the dialogue and they were good. You know, the grandma was not bad in this because I don't think I've seen her in a movie. I don't think I've seen her in any project. The grandma was not bad in this. You know, the who else? Almost everybody except one person for me. Almost everybody, you know, was good. Even I wish they could have done more with Tenny. What is it? Tenny? What's her name? Yeah, Evie, the person who played Evie. I wish they could have done more. She's a good actress. I wish they could have done more. I didn't like her in that role, so it's just there just to move to cause conflict and all that. You know, what else do I like about this series? I like the intention. I like the intention. I like the idea of Yahoo. Like I wish they. Okay, let me get to my bad. You know, I like the intention of Yahoo. You want to like teach people crime is bad. You know, from grace to from grass to grace, then to grass. You know, I like the intention. I like the premise of this series. What else do I like? I think that's all I like. The intention and the performances. That's all.
All right. Timmy, do you want to tell us what you liked about To Kill a Monkey?
Gladly. I loved this series. I said before that I didn't really see what people were seeing with Kemi Adetiba's films, but this series has completely changed my mind, changed my opinion about her. I feel, um, I feel like what I loved most about the series is the fact that this was very intentional and this was very well thought out, and there was a vision, and the vision was diligently, perfectly, beautifully executed. I feel like this series is proof that archetypes, tropes, structure, all of that works. And Kemi Adetiba uses all these things effectively. I feel like that is what the epitome of being a creative is. when you're making the right choices to tell the story that you want to tell. If there was a joke I made to a friend that if I could compare this series to a man, I would say this series is like Terry Crews, because I don't think that man has any body fat, and he's a very big person. And I felt like this story is quite dense in terms of theme, in terms of character. It's a dense story, but there are no facts. This was straight to the point. There was logical progression from A to B to this to that. Each character's actions had there was causality in this, there were consequences for the character's actions. And it was really just an entertaining watch. It was a really fun ride for me. I loved Idia. I like to refer to her as Queen Idia because she was giving me Queen energy. I loved how they introduced her, um how they introduced her was it the first episode or the second episode? Her waist was snatched, her body was giving, and I love what she used to do with her A's. Oh, my husband, oh, that beg. Oh my god. Okay, so what else did I like? I liked how they depicted mental health in this. It was nothing in this. Like I said, everything. I feel like this series was well thought out, and um, that is seen in literally everything that this series wanted to do. I loved the use of children in this. It's not all the time. Like, it's not we don't have to see the children speak. You don't have to give the children dialogue if it's not relevant to the story. The children were kind of parts of what raised the stakes in this and was a source of motivation for some of the characters, and I really enjoyed it. And I also like the fact that um I don't know. Somebody said that Kemi Adetiba is an actor's actor, and I agree. And this is even some of the more tolerable child performances that I have seen um, from Nollywood. Another thing I loved about this is the fact that nobody is a saint in this. Everybody was in one way or the other a bad person, from the major characters down to the minor characters. Everybody had their own. Everybody was a hypocrite. And I went from especially Nosa. Nosa to me was my favorite character because at first I think I was confused about who she is and why she was doing what she was doing. But I was like, you know what? I love messy characters. I love characters that are just that I love characters that they're just doing their own thing, right? But it just makes sense for based on the motivations and every other thing that's already been set up. Another thing I loved about this is that I've already mentioned that they trimmed off all the fats in this, but I also liked how it was very coherent, and it was just I think that's the most I can say about that. Regarding the performances, this is my introduction to. This is actually the first time I'm seeing a lot of these people. They said they are not fresh faces, but these are very fresh faces to me. This is the first time I'm seeing Stella Damasus in anything, and I am a stan now. I am standing mother from now on. Same with William Benson, and yes, Vanessa is right that he acts with his eyes. There was the time when he was having this confrontation with Nusa, and he did this thing with his eyebrow, and I was gagged. I was like, I have no idea how he
Mm-hmm.
did it.
Mm-hmm. Round up,
My
round up.
time. Oh, I'm sorry. I think that's pretty much all. I wanted to talk about the actors, but yeah, people have already said enough about that. But yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Timmy. And Uchenna, please, you want to tell us what you liked about To Kill a Monkey?
Okay, yeah, I was thinking of ceding my time to Timmy since he had so much more to say, and I probably don't have all that much to say. I think most of what I wanted to say has already been said. We've talked a lot about the performances. I think all the lead actors were really great. Butchie Franklin, I I wasn't really all that sold on his performance, but I think he had great presence, and all that was really good. Uh, the the best actor to me was Sunshine Roseman. Um, Traditionally, I've not been a huge fan of Kemi Adetiba's movies. She's an artist that I greatly respect and admire, while at the same time acknowledging that her work is just not for me. And the reason is usually there's a tonal mismatch, I feel, where the work is inherently soapy, but she doesn't embrace the camp of it, and she seems as if she's trying to do something that's much more serious, but at the same time feels like a soap opera. And I think that Shine Rossman was most keyed into that tone, and I feel that her performance really, really captured the feeling of what the work should be. Um, Also, another thing I liked was there were so many scenes in this that while I was watching them, I find myself thinking, "Oh wow, Kemi seems to be a big fan of The Sopranos, and that's my favorite show." So that was cool. Um, I think that's all I'll say.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Uchenna. Mr. C, tell us what you liked about To Kill a Monkey.
Okay, I'll time myself. Let me give myself a little extra. Okay. What did I like about To Kill a Monkey? I liked a lot about To Kill a Monkey. So don't ask me questions when I get to my bed. But yeah, so I think To Kill a Monkey is just whatever the flaws I get to in my bed. It's a reminder that Kemi is their mommy when it comes to this crime problem that she has brought upon us in Nollywood. I really loved the gaudiness on display here. I thought the gaudiness was a character in itself. The first time we see Idia and she comes out in that dress, just ass and boobs shaking all over the place while she's jumping about, and I was like, yes, this is exactly the wife of a money misroad Yahoo boy. The way Obo's dressed, I thought, and he was getting it just progressively got worse, right? The more money he made, the gaudier he looked, and I absolutely loved that. I liked the contrast between Oboz and Ife after Ife made money. Because again, I think Mo mentioned like the thing about the class and all of that, like even in, the poverty and that, right? There is that idea, if it does have this idea of being better, different, not a criminal. So his gaudiness is different from Oboz's gaudiness, right? Oboz mentions one time, what does a $3 million Rolex have to do with providing for your family? He's still showing his wealth. He's just of a different type of showiness, but I did love that contrast. Now, I couldn't stop thinking about Breaking Bad, the more I got on with this series. And I think that feels like the sort of premise we have here in A Man Provides, right? And all the ways the world had beat down Ife at the start, right? And then progressing to crime to provide for his family. It's the same way Walter White kind of felt with, Walter White did have this, oh, the world is against me, right? Woe is me. Okay, I guess I now have to do crime, right? It did. I saw those parallels and I kind of enjoyed that. I loved the ages. I loved that they didn't try to tell me William Benson and Stella Damascus as 30-year-olds. Because when we had them going with, Bucci, I was a little concerned. But I love it. I love that they put them in their late 40s to 50, made sense. I love that these kinds of stories are usually told around younger people, right? We see Living in Bondage, Yahoo Plus, anything regarding turning to a life of crime, starting this journey with someone else leading you. It's usually a younger person being led by an older person into this world of crime. But this time we have an older person being led into the world of crime with a younger person. We completely understand how this dynamic happened and how it worked. And I appreciated that. I think episodes 1 and 2 did a good job of sort of setting the scene or putting us into this world. I like that episode 1 really focused and showed us on Ife's, troubles in the world, right? Sexual harassment, the speed with which Ife was always kneeling to the ground. I think Vanessa mentioned his height, right? And how William Benson does this thing of looking small and feeling small. And it was the ease of this man dropping to the ground at just every quick thing because life had beat him up so much, right? There's no room for pride. There's no room for your shoulder being high. There's no room to look one way or the other, right? You're on the ground, you're on the ground. You're poor, you're beat down, you're broke, and you beg. So I really appreciated that. And I thought episode 2 did he's now been given this offer. He's refused it. And then we end up back there again. I was like, good, great. We've set up, we're moving. So I did like that. Going to the acting, like everybody has said, oh my God, Butchie Franklin, absolutely adore him. I love him. And I feel like him and William Benson they had such good chemistry. And they did a really good job of selling me their brotherhood in places where the script had fallen short of selling me their brotherhood. The way they interacted with each other, looked at each other. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. When Stella Damaso started crying, absolutely fantastic. I was like, yes, you've got this. Madame Aduni's character, absolutely amazing. I thought she killed it. Idia crushed it. Just absolute perfect embodiment of that type of person, that type of woman. Shine Roseman, I thought she did great. I had times where I thought she was putting on a performance, but then you get to the end and you do see that she was still putting on a bit of a performance. I was like, all right, that's fine, that works. I enjoyed her flirting with William Benson. I thought that was great. I enjoyed some of the dialogue here, like when Bucci said, and this comes back to the chemistry, when Bucci said, if no be say, to say you no be man, I for lick you, bros. I was like, all right, I see you. Or when he told that babe, I don't know, say you did read, no worry, I know they look sense when they lash you. I'm like, that is rude, but that is hilarious. I love the vulgarity of some of these characters. It seemed just absolutely right and apt. Again, the idea of this deep friendship between these two somewhat different people, or quite different people, at least on the outside. Again, some of the execution I had a problem with, but I love the idea of it. And Teniola's performance of her grief when this guy died, I thought was brilliant. I thought she did absolutely amazing. Although it's like she was mad because what do you mean you killed the father of your grandchild? But anyway, just also side notes, I thought the starch looked really good. I'm a South babe. I haven't had starch in a long time. And yeah, that was very nice to see. And also, yeah, I'm glad we were fucking the doctor, to be honest, because why not? Why the fuck not? Let's fuck the doctor. Oh, and one thing, Nollywood has had this obsession of juxtaposing things, right? Like someone being choked to death while someone else is riding dick and being choked. And it's always been somewhat traumatizing. They love the idea of coming and going. But I did like the juxtaposition here, how Kemi cut and spliced this. We start with him having a panic attack next to the van, and then he's staggering and drunk, and his girl's looking after him and giving him a pill, and he's in the shower crying, and then we go to him having this dinner with his friend where he ultimately betrays him. And yeah, I did enjoy the way all of that was spliced. I thought that worked. So yeah, those are my likes. There you go.
Wow. Okay. A bunch of people have sent in their likes as well, so I'm going to be reading quite a bit. All right. Icons, whose request to speak I still can't see, says I like the acting for most of the cast. Amanda's part was acting well. The soundtrack, like the story, how the story ends. The story for the most part is written well. Like that there were many intentional shots. The visual portrayal of the story. These were some of the things I liked. All right. Pelumi says, meanwhile, okay, that's a question. Sorry. Ricky says, love the sound design and the music match every scene. Finding someone featured Starch and Banga Soup, and then featured some Urobo songs too, finally. Anyways, I love everything about the series. Shows they did not rush the production. Courage says, I liked how they painted what living from hand to mouth looked like. Also, the grieving scene highlighted a Nigerian thing where people come to Beira just to eat without sympathizing with the family. The score and soundtrack was also amazing. Terrence said, I like the scene where Oboz opened the door in his office to reveal where his main business takes place, and the restaurant scene where Oboz first met Efe. That look on his face when Efe knelt to beg, great acting. I like the boat scene where they almost suffocated Efe too. And then M says, likes Bucci Williams and Lillian performance. The use of Edo Pidgin and language, the characterization and styling of Oboz, all the scenes with Efe and Oboz were iconic. All right. Okay. There's loads of likes. Marshmallow says, I loved episode 1. I think it was a complete story on its own and set a good tone for the series. All right. Okay, let me say some things I like. I'm going to start off agreeing with Marshmallow says I really, really liked episode 1. I enjoyed episode 1 a lot. I think Mrs. C and I watched this together, and we loads of times where we were laughing and agreeing, and we're just in the world together, and it was a lot of fun. And I know basically everybody has mentioned it, but I will still speak on Bucci because I think now that is my favorite Nollywood character. I think Oboz has surpassed Oba, and I didn't think that was going to happen anytime soon. But I think Oboz has surpassed Oba now as my favorite Nollywood character. And it's because I think he's from beginning to end. It's just, I think it's great. It's exactly what he needed. It's exactly what he was intended to go through. The journey he went through was exactly the journey he was intended to go through, and I thought it was executed really, really well. Like 9 out of 10 well. And in a series where I guess some people's characters aren't as strong, I have to imagine Bucci has at least some input to how strong this character remained so consistent, and I believed every motivation and even every bad behavior. Some people open their mouth to say, oh, you know how people sometimes they do, irrational. Shush! Yes, a character can be, a character can have what looks like irrational behavior, but it shouldn't be irrational from the character's perspective. Not really. There should be a reasoning behind it. And even every stupid and bad behavior Oboz does, I understand exactly why he's doing it. I get it. And it was, I think, the best thing about the series by far. And Bucci's acting, even in the way he does things, like the way he says, calls Ozzy Boy, like the way he says that name is like, the way he says is like, it has I can feel the history behind the character who has been, like he's been saying it for years. Sometimes people read all these nicknames you've written for your gangsters, and there's nothing behind it. It's because they just gave you, you haven't thought about anything about it, but there's so much affection behind it. And honestly, for me, the best chemistry in this thing is Ozzy and Oboz. That's my ship. Those are the guys for me. Those guys, from the moment where Ozzy B starts feeling threatened by the way Oboz is taken to FA. Say FA. Say FA, right? Uh-huh. I just liked that dynamic, and I enjoyed it a lot. So, for me, this is my favorite character now, and I think my favorite performance as well in Nollywood. Just again, I think performance easily surpasses I won't say easily, maybe not easily, but comfortably surpasses Oba's one, just a little bit. just a little bit, because I don't want to disrespect Oba. Oba is still a queen on her own. But in terms of the consistency, and I just like also, cause like when it comes to his end, I felt it. He drew emotion out of me, and I knew it was coming. When, like he's saying, "Can I trust you?" And he said, "No, I'm not going to betray you." I knew it was coming, but I knew it was coming. And when, and that's, when he starts saying, asking for, when he starts asking for forgiveness, when he starts, saying, "You know what, let's forget about anything you want to do." I was like, wow, I can't believe how much emotion I'm feeling about this complete art, because this guy is an asshole in the film, to be honest. He's so rash. But yeah, I noticed all the, Ichena was mentioning how Kemi apparently likes The Sopranos, and there's a lot of, I don't know what it is, but I noticed like some of the tropes behind this type of crime film where you have two people go in, and even Mrs. C, when Mrs. talked about Breaking Bad, you have two people go in, and there's one, more steady person with the brains, and the other person is the more erratic person. And you have to be careful, because the more erratic person is dragging. It's so many, I'm seeing so many Scorsese, a couple of Scorsese crime films as well that have this kind of thing, where the more, level-headed person is going to have to, think really carefully about how they run around with this person who has brought them here, but is also just so erratic and unreliable. But yes, I absolutely loved all of that. So yeah, without even adding much to what anybody said, I just had to come and pay homage to Bucci, because good Lord, yeah, my favorite performance / character, yeah. And yeah, everything was, Lillian, I thought Lillian was great. I thought Stella, there was one scene I was watching her, I was like, did Stella used to cry a lot? I can't remember, and I was like, wasn't it Hilda and Sylvia? But there was a face she made, I was like, oh my God. I feel like I remember this face. And then when Elizabeth mentioned, she used to cry, I was like, oh, there we go. She did used to cry. She was great at this crying thing. But yeah, lots of great performances around. And my favorite thing, just definitely the dynamic between a lot of things surrounding Ubo's character, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, that's my good. Should mention there are a lot of interesting filmmaking choices done by Kemi, that I think just it's easy to take for granted, and I'm taking it for granted because it's her, because her filmmaking levels are a little bit further than her peers. But yes, kudos to her, kudos to Bucci as well. Anyway, let's talk about some of the things we did not like. Timer is also up. All right, Vanessa. Oh, sorry. Before we go, Vanessa, Tess, your hand is up. Is there something else you wanted to say?
Yeah. What do I want to say? Oh yeah. So I liked the callback to Obaz's bodyguard. And how, because in the beginning you see him, they're eating together all the time. They appear to be friends of some kind. And then in the end, he's purely a foot soldier by the time Effie is firmly in the picture. And I like that they did not just kind of forget that, and he does say it in the end. I thought that was well thought out.
Yeah. All right. Now let's pivot to things that we did not like. All right, Vanessa, you want to kick us off? Your time has started.
Sure. I think my time should start when I start speaking, not when you say my time has started. But yeah, I was bored. I'm just gonna get straight into it. I was bored, and I'm very sure I'm not the only person who was bored, because again, that same party I was at yesterday, By episode 2, unprovoked, I didn't say anything to anybody because I didn't want to spoil it because I'd watched it. Unprovoked, someone beside me said, "You guys, me, I'm bored though." Because mind you, we were at a party and we wanted to play games. But that's the point. If it was interesting, he would not say that. From episode 1 and 2, I was working with Kemi because I wanted to get to our start. Like, yes, the introduction of the abject poverty and misery, all of that was great. But I genuinely enjoyed those episodes because I was like, okay, great. This is setting up a bunch of stuff. I want to see that transition. However, just as soon as we started, we hit a lull. It dragged on and on and on, which leads me to my next point, verbosity. Kemi Adetiba is incredibly verbose. And I can say it because I am verbose too. I think as Nigerians, we are a verbose people. We like to say what we want to say using 600 and something thousand words. However, with filmmaking, you need to say what you want to say in fewer words. And I don't know if it is that the people who surround her are yes men, or is that she doesn't have anyone surrounding her who will edit the story, edit the film, cut through the fat. Every single time Timmy said the film was cut through the fat, he went straight to the point. I was laughing and shaking my head because how did we go straight to the point? 8 hours is going straight to the point. 8 hours is going straight to the point, and we trimmed the fat. We trimmed the fat in 8 hours. 8 episodes, each an hour long. This entire story could have been told in 3. Even that 3, I would have said we were dragging. 8 hours. There were so many scenes that were completely unnecessary. Things that we could have summarized in 2 scenes, we left dragging on for 6. Case in point, after the car bomb goes off and Chidimokweme's character is sat in a friend's house and delivers this monologue that I hated with every fiber of my being. He says, and I quote, "I will make their lives miserable. They'll not go sleep for any single night for as long as I'm alive." And the only thing we see is that he tries to attack the child again in the hospital. After that, it seems like Chidimoke teacher forgets that he made a promise to not let them have a night of sleep. Because it seems like the rest of the time, these men were living their vida loca. I mean, he had the opportunity to start wooing Shine Roseman. So it's like we pick up a subject matter, and because Kemi Adetiba wants to go and tell 600 stories by the corner side, we forget that we have started something and then we don't complete it. So no fat was trimmed. I just think there was a lot of contrivances and conveniences. The longest opening scene with the kids in the bush and the judge that was going on and the markings and the all of that, yeah, I thought was completely unnecessary because the only purpose that scene served was to tie into a random character who dies in less than 2 seconds. So all it does is tell us that there were cells in which children were being taught to do yahoo yahoo, and they gave them marks to whatever bind their loyalty. Okay, and it does nothing to affect the rest of the story that is being told. So why? Why? The final episode struggles incredibly so. And it's not the usual, oh, we've spent all this time and then we're rushing. It's not just that. It's that obviously we've hit the point where they're like, okay, we have to tie up loose ends of subject matters that we have carried from one beginning. And now we have to tie it all up together in a pretty little bow. But the bow is not pretty. In fact, it is the ugliest bow I have ever seen in my entire life. It is the ugliest bow I have ever seen in my entire life. I just want to add, can we write better characters for Bimba Akintola? I don't know who I need to beg. I'm on my knees. I just don't think we are giving her what is needed. She's one of the, I think Bimbo is one of the most incredible actors we have in this industry. She is insanely talented and has been for as long as I have been alive. But in recent showings, whoever is writing anything for Bimbo Akintola, Mbanu. So potentially unpopular opinion to all of you who love the score. I hate to break it to you, I hated it with every fiber of my being. From the beginning, I said, what is this? Number one, it was unnecessary, loud, and distracting. Every time I heard some mumbo jumbo going down beneath the scene, I'm like, can we shut it off? Shut it off. Let me hear what people are saying. I know my time is up. Final one, not to call out Michael Edger. I have never been sold on Michael Edger as an actor, and unfortunately, he still did not sell me in this film. All in all, guys, I was bored and tired, and it was completely unnecessary. We could have wrapped this up in 2.5 hours and not 8 hours.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay. A lot of spice. Otas. Follow
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Uh-huh. So first of all, Uchi did not take off his shirts, and obviously that is a crime. Because first of all, the character, I believe when not removing his shirts, unheard of. But also, let me see Fine Man clearly. Why? Why will you put? It's like putting Killer Remy and not off his shirt, like But that's it. Let's see things I didn't like. Third act problem. It's prevalent here. The last episode struggles so much for it. It's Game of Thrones final season level bad. Like when you compare season 1 to season 7, that's kind of what this was. It was like when you compare the first few episodes to that last episode, it just things just happen to happen, and it does remind you sort of King of Boys. The last episode or last couple, not last episode, sorry, the movie. So like the last, I think 10-15 minutes in the movie, the whole prison sequence escape. So it's a similar thing here where things are just happening. Um, he, the video gets out that this guy made because the mistress is upset at not being chosen. The mistress herself chooses to believe her, boyfriend's arch nemesis who put his daughter in her fridge without even speaking to the boyfriend based on nothing, no evidence other than him not being there. It was just all very hastily put together. Um, and I think that a lot of time that they spent in the series with the fatty parts of it could have been trimmed down to focus on creating a tighter ending. Um, I know I want Fa dead. I know I don't like Fa. There's no character that has ever been written as a main character that I dislike as much as I dislike Fa. I just don't think the way it's done in the end at all is earned. Um, Everyone turns on him in a way that doesn't make sense, other than Stella, Stella's character. Um, what else? I do not like Effie's character. I said that already, but I don't find him complex. I don't find him intriguing. I find him stupid and annoying the entire time. It's not Wealth that does it. He's just, and I don't know if that's an intentional. I think that's why I don't like it most, is because it doesn't feel intentional that he's this stupid. You can kind of see the movie trying to create excuses for him, but the excuses themselves are stupid. Like they try to portray him at the beginning as like a family man, but then he says, "Oh, I go and hang out at the bar at night while his wife is at home with twins, and I'm supposed to feel sorry for him." Um, there are other portrayals of that throughout the entire thing, like when he when Nusa snaps at him while they're still poor, by the way. And then he decides, oh yeah, my wife has yelled at me and we're fighting, so I'm going to go commit crime. I wasn't gonna do it yesterday, but now that she has told me that, oh, I'm doing some of your responsibilities, Fun 19 is obviously my next option. So good for me there. And then he does it again after he's wealthy when he goes to cheat. They're trying to tell me that that man took that woman's number, was taking her on dates, bringing her to the event with his brotherly. Did not plan to cheat, of course, until he went home and fought with his wife, who apparently had no right to be upset that she saw a video of her husband hanging out with this babe and holding hands. But no, he wasn't going to cheat. He was just pushed to it. And then he goes in at the end and has this monologue of, oh my God, everyone is pushing me. I'm just being pushed all the time. Myself would never do that. I'm just being pushed. I found it very, very very aggravating the entire time. Um, I can go on about Efe, honestly. There was no episode he was in that I was not annoyed by his actions and inactions. Because at some points they try to sell him as this smart man. Oh my God, he has a hospital and he's laundering money quietly and he's so smart and he convinces witnesses not to talk. But then at the other end, he's like just completely idiotic. I feel like they try to give him kind of a anti-hero um sheen. It just didn't take because he just came off to me as a villain the entire time. And I don't know whether that was on purpose or not. So that annoys me. Because obviously it could be a purposeful artistic choice to make a villain your main character, and that's okay. But there were other things done that just made it seem like happenstance. Um, and then Teacher as a character, did not like him. As an actor in this, did not like it. And that sucks because I like Chidi Wakeme. But the acting for a teacher's character was weak, and the character itself was just weak. But this is the first time I've ever reached a time limit in my life.
Uh, all right. Yeah. I guess when the hand goes up, you can just round up. It doesn't have to be a hard stop. Thank you, the Otas. And Elizabeth, you want to tell us what you do not like about?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So the fundamental problem is that To Kill a Monkey isn't doing anything new. Nor is it executing familiar tropes in a compelling way. This is your standard Nigerian crime story. It's predictable, it is bloated, and you've seen like 70 variations of it, I promise you. Like Vanessa said, the plot could have been told in, say, 4 tight episodes. But instead, we're stretched thin by characters who just talk too much. Everybody's yelling, yakking, yakking, yakking. I mean, this could have been a riveting crime story, but alas. The writing also mishandles its characters. Let's start from where it has stopped. The introduction of the teacher was poorly done. I mean, I understand the idea was to introduce him a bit, but it didn't work because Obuz had already revealed the teacher's motivations out of nowhere. I mean, when he was telling Ife, I was like, okay, but we didn't see this happen. Like, he wants his stake, he wants 30%, wants 30%. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And for me, this removes the stakes, as we know nothing about this operation to even start with. This criminal underworld, we don't even know what's going on there. We don't know that there are monkeys, there are people kneeling down, and there is an office somewhere, and people typing on computers and talking to their family on phone. I mean, and I know that they were trying to establish Teacher as a family man in, say, episode 4, but this is not enough to build an emotional connection, because we know it is meant to create emotional stakes, but it feels tacked on and very ineffective. I mean, they just showed these children, showed crying children, then they are blown up, and then we see him crying and he's reminiscing, and that music was there, and I just found myself thinking, like, sorry, your grandkids died, but what's my own? Like, what has that got to do with me? Why am I here? Because this problem extends to the entire criminal underworld, which remains a vague concept throughout the series. 8 hours, and the workings, the inner workings remain a misery, and it leaves your character motivations feeling thin and illogical. The story itself, like, say, in fact, like I mentioned, like the entire thing, a critical lack of world building, guys. This series would have benefited greatly from exploring the criminal underworld. Let's know the echelon, let's know how it works, and why we don't want to pay Teacher is cut. There's increments. Why? Because that way we can understand character motivations better. We can understand Obuz better because we are just saying like, oh, Obuz is irrational. He's killing. We don't even know when he's killing, when he went and killed. I mean, how all of these things happen and how if he got caught in this crossfire. Again, it's because everybody talks so much. We're just talking, and major thing they're supposed to show us, it didn't come up. And brings me to the directing style. The directing style also contributes to this slow pace, which kills the thrill for me, because this is supposed to be a crime drama, so it should thrill, right? But the characters speak in a way that introduces, as Vanessa mentioned, a lull. And nearly every scene is overly intense and they are charged. Sometimes they are building this sparring, they are sparring with words. And what that does is that they're almost as though every character is the same, is similar. Take, for example, the power play exchange between that doctor and the inspector. That conversation, when she first went to meet her in the hospital, it just felt drawn out and served little purpose beyond ego. I mean, they were just talking. Again, this entire series is filled with exposition. Everybody's yakking away other people's motivations. And we are hearing protagonists talking away their own motivation. Take, for example, that scene where Efe sees the inspector sitting down, say, why are you here? Cheap drink, cheap women. And then they just start talking. And you don't know oh my God. I'm like, what is going on here? And the music, guys, the music is annoying. The music is annoying because it injects unearned emotion and intensity into every single scene and taking away moments that should have landed naturally. This series was scored for a telenovela. I'm sorry. Whose idea was it to score a thrilling series as a telenovela? I know this because I've watched my fair share of telenovelas, so I know what that sound is. And so you're trying to force a sense of pity from the audience when it's not needed. Take, for example, that scene when if it goes to see Ivie, I thought there should have been no sound. I should be hearing pin drop. That conversation should land, slap everybody in the face, because we're seeing father and daughter having a spar of words. I mean, they are emotionally charged already, and then you now put that bloody telenovela, Squendo Seals Mia's sound thing. I was so mad. I had to pause. I had to walk away. I'm like, you know what? Let me watch K-drama. Let me watch K-drama. Because what the hell? What the hellion? And that same scene, this film, this series, sorry, I'll round up, but this series constantly tells instead of showing. If it calls Efe a miserable, manipulative man, I can't forget that. But we don't see this. We don't see this. She speaks of things we haven't witnessed, so we can't even judge if she's an unreliable narrator or if it is Efe that is the unreliable narrator in this scene. So we also spend so much time on the inspector's personal trauma and recovery, a subplot that fails to push the main story forward in any tangible way. The handling of the central conflict between Efe and Obuz is clumsy. I don't care what anybody says. Their characterization, they are not complex characters. They are poorly defined, both of them. Obuz lacks coherent motivation for his actions. Efe's self-righteous crusade feels shallow and underdeveloped. I don't care. And the monkeys, guys, I still don't get the monkeys. What about the monkeys? What the hell are we here? Bye.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. Gonna go Undercut. Undercut, do you want to tell us what you didn't know about To Kill a Monkey?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what I don't like and why I think people think it's boring is because, in my opinion, I think the escalation between teacher and the boss is a bit off. First of all, you don't even know who teacher is, right? So after they did all the worst things immediately, you've already blown up his grandchildren. Where do you go from there next? You get, as a writer, you've written yourself into a corner. That's why there's a lull after that. The next logical conclusion is that you kill off a main character, something a more risk-taking writer would do. Most writers wouldn't do that. So we have a case where this almighty villain teacher doesn't do anything for 6 episodes. He can't do anything. You get? He can't do anything because they've done all the worst things already. You've literally blown up teacher's grandchild. What teacher will do now is to kill your wife. That's the main character. To kill one of your actual... the teacher doesn't do anything because the writer has written herself into a corner by doing all the worst things immediately. You could have led up with more, you can stage a more scarier death, but with lower stakes in the beginning so that it goes higher, and builds up. So for at least a few episodes, teacher doesn't have anything to do. So FA continues just moving around. There's literally nothing going to happen to him, and we end up experiencing more of Bimbo Akintola's character to fill up that time where teacher, whoever is supposed to be driving the plot, is not doing anything. You get so another thing I do not like is that towards the end, they try to sell Efe as a smart character, and it doesn't match up to who Efe has been. Efe slept with his teacher, with his Oga the first time, and she tricked him. He went back a second time to sleep with her, and she tricked him again. That's a mumu. He has been mumu from the beginning, and at the end, they are trying to tell us, oh my God, he's busy giving this narration. I'm like, see, and so that confuses me, right? Is it that they were trying to write? Is it that right? Is it that is it that they thought they wrote a smart character and forgot? Or is this character actually stupid? Because I thought this was a stupid character. Why are you trying to sell to me in the end with this and that? Oh my God, he was doing like smart thing. Even the way they caught him, like everything was just like, he's not smart. You get, so that's something, Chidemokeme. I think it's because again, there was no, like, we don't really get this teacher guy. So I don't know if it's the wig cap, the bald cap. The bald cap was a bit Tyler Perry-ish, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling Chidimokeme's. That's the only character I did not like out of the whole ensemble. Teacher. Yes, and they really went whole into like making us like, is it real root for teacher or not? I mean, why? You get, anyway. Lastly, I don't know. I don't think Efe and Obozi's friendship was really built on, except for them saying to each other that they are brotherly. Like except I don't see them as friends. Like literally 4 years later, the first time when they did that 4 years later, the first time they meet, Oboz threatens to kill Efe with waterproof for nothing. I'm like, and then I try to tell us that, oh my God, they are friends and there's a huge betrayal here. And I'm like, is there really, so yeah, that's my bad for now.
All right. Thanks, Nduka. Tara, do you want to tell us what you do not like about To Kill a Monkey?
Yes, I do. Good evening once again. But before I start, I don't know, I think I'm the only person that has a different opinion about Efe's character. His character was written to be stupid, and he was the one narrating. So, of course, a character with that level of self-delusion or delusion of self-grandeur would think he was smart, because we could see everything he did was stupid. Right from when they stole the money for him, the keke napep, till the end, there was no ounce of street smartness in that man. So because he was the narrator in most of his own situations, he tended to narrate himself as a good person. That was the issue. That was his own problem. So if he was one narrating himself as someone that was good and was smart, but we all could see with our eyes that it was himself, it was deluded. That's what I didn't like everybody has said, the teacher's character, I did not like that character. I did not believe that the character was properly introduced and the character was properly developed. Once again, I think that the part since episodes 4 and 5, will have cut the chase and put it at the ending. We needed to have a properly developed ending. That is the major problem with Nollywood in general. They do not develop their endings well. Because I know that Amanda was very, very, everything happened from what they said. Everything that happened with Amanda and Efe was within one night. Like, she didn't even think twice. She was pregnant. She was supposed to be pregnant for this guy. She didn't think twice. She just went, boom, released all the recording. Except they want me to believe that teacher was the one that actually sent her. Because the interaction with teacher showed that probably she was more like a setup to Efe. Because that was what I was deluding myself to believe that, oh, maybe teacher really sent her and she was losing focus on why she was sent to Efe. And at the same time, if that is the case, they did not even give us such within. It was a surprise to all of us that were watching. We were all surprised. At least I was surprised when I saw Ife, teacher and Amanda interact, because there was no inkling to the fact that these guys even had some sort of interaction. So I think my major challenge is episode 8. It was not properly tied down. And the character of Bimbo Akintola, I do not, I don't know how to put it. I do not understand why they went through extra lengths just to make her sleep in the house. They could have killed her off. So I don't say, honestly, I think that maybe out of the foolishness of Ife and his partner, they did some unnecessary things that did not make sense. They could have just killed the character. Why did they carry her to her house? They just want to see her again. What was the point? What was exactly the point? Immediately they bombed teacher, because the intention was actually to bomb teacher, not his grandkids. Immediately they didn't succeed in bombing teacher. They should have found it to actually kill him off, not let go. They did a lot of, I don't know, honestly, I think they dropped the ball between episodes 3 and 6, yes. So picking up again in 6 and 7, by 8 they forgot, and I agree with Vanessa, it would have been 5 episodes maximum, and we would have ended it there. But honestly, because we are used to a lot of do it yourself in Nollywood, we just did the show. She wanted to expound on everything possible, but they gathered all the ingredients, but there were some missing pieces that did not flesh it up as they ought to flesh it up. So that's my own criticism of the series. But it was a very solid attempt that could have been better.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sarah. And Howard, do you want to tell us what you did not like about To Kill a Monkey?
Yeah. So the first thing I didn't like about the film was the way if his relationship with his wife kind of disintegrated. It felt very unnatural to me. It felt like they just wanted their relationship to disintegrate, and so they made them irrational at different times. Because there were points where if he'll be making I know he's like a foolish character, but he'll be making a valid point, and his wife would just be very, very like non-believably irrational. It was just very foolish. I didn't like that. I thought it was just like plot device or plot whatever. I spent the entire day watching it. I was sick yesterday, and I'm telling you, I got sicker when I saw Chidimokemi's bald cap. I was almost dying because the bald cap was so horrible, and that was when I knew that this character was just rubbish. Like, it was going to be rubbish. He was, for a villain, he was too talkative. He was talking too much, and when you say plenty things, the more you say nonsense. When he told the story about why he was trying to, he put his daughter in a freezer, I'm like, I beg. Like, that was a very foolish story. You mean to tell me you put my daughter in a freezer because you want 30%? Like, it didn't even make any sense. That whole story of giving back to the people that were there before. I don't understand why I have to do that. Like, I don't even know you. So why do I have to give you anything just because you did this business before? I don't know. Maybe it's like what happens in their world, in the underground, whatever. But they never said anything about that. So his motives were like very dead. I also did not understand his relationship with the Shine Ross man. I didn't get it. They just said something at the end. Did he place her there? It wasn't very clear. It wasn't clear. And then the Shine Ross man as well. Like, just in this one scene, she gave us this very long story about how men can go to hell. She hates men. And then you're now so sad and betrayed by a criminal that you go and give the police. Like, I don't understand. That was very, I've never been here before. But what she was telling us from the beginning was, oh, I'm this cool, tough chick that has been here before. And she said she's not in it for a relationship. So why did she fall in love so easily? It was like the time between when she fell in love, or love, quote unquote, and when he betrayed her and she felt so hot that she had to go and throw everything, put him in jail and all of that. It was so short. And I didn't see like any relationship building. Like, there was no, besides that dinner scene, there was nothing else that they did to say, oh, these characters are like in love now. It was nothing. And if he kept making a lot of illogical decisions, he was, I mean, for somebody that life had shown him shaggy, he was, I don't know whether to say trusting, or he was just very foolish. Like, you are going to the hospital, they rob you. Your boss is sexually assaulting you to give you money. And then you go the first time, she betrays you. You go the second time, she betrays you. You now go to teacher and expect something different from a criminal that you don't know. Like, you don't know this G. You have never seen him before, but he tells you, oh, because he's such a great guy, he's going to leave you alone. You killed his granddaughter and then he's going to leave you alone forever. Just kill your partner. And you believe it. Like, it was very foolish. Then I didn't understand why the inspector, like, they were all just talking plenty. I think we've established that. Why was the inspector confessing? Why was the doctor, sorry, the person in charge, the MD, confessing to the inspector in the car? I don't get it. The first time they introduced her, she was like this tough. Oh, she's giving FA information. Then because they just said, oh, you're XYZ, she now flipped and now gave them the whole life story of FA. How she came, how, like, she just confessed. Then why did the inspector not record that conversation? Why did she not record the conversation when FA was confessing to for no apparent reason at the bar? Like, how can you just see somebody and start confessing and you don't record it? And you're now, like, she was such a, for an investigator, she was such a foolish investigator. I don't understand how she did not record those two conversations, because I feel like it would have even, the whole case would have been finished. And then I didn't understand why his daughter hated him, but she loved Obos. I didn't get her motivation. Like, somebody already said, like, she was always, oh, the guy's a manipulator. Bro, you're pregnant for a killer and you're judging your father for being. It was very funny. I didn't understand that part. I didn't even get why she was angry. Like, the guy nearly, he said she should go and, they didn't even reconcile after he almost killed her and told that guy give the baby to the owner. Nothing. So why was she supporting him and hating her father for what I don't understand? I didn't get that part. Also, one small thing. At the beginning of the movie, the guy, not at the beginning, towards the middle, the guy who was confessing in the jail cell, his name was Sanusi Bello. And then towards the end, they started calling him Sani Bello. I don't know if that was intentional. I did not understand that part. Lastly, I don't know how the entire family managed to absolve themselves and everything fell on Effie. Like, the detective had been, it means all her investigation was rubbish, because she was investigating all her life. This was like the thing, she could not sleep. She was forging signatures. How can they give you this foolish story? What did she think happened to Obos? She's the one that said something about the monkey ring. Why did she not investigate his family? How come his wife got to keep her assets? I remember everybody's still living La Vida Loca. Like, it was very foolish how everybody was involved, but only if it took like the fall for it. I did not think that was very realistic at all. Like, they didn't even, it was so unrealistic. And then they're coming to the courtroom with a gun. Anyway. And yeah, I think that's it basically. It was very scattered after the first episode, it became very scattered. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Howard. Nollywood must change. Please tell us what you did not like about To Kill a Monkey.
Okay. Please are we still going to have another round after this one?
Yeah, easy.
It's your time to ask questions.
Okay. I just want to start by saying this is bad writing. Like, it's very, I'm so disappointed because Kemi is one of because everybody's in it, she's their mother, she's their this and that. I'm like, this is one of the best filmmakers we have, but she's a bad writer. She has done it with King of Boys, the series. And the same thing happens again, this one. This is a crime thriller, and for this kind of, like someone said that she wanted to write Ife as a stupid character. No, in this genre, you don't write a stupid character as your hero, as the main character. This is an anti-hero. You need a character that is active, that is smart, that do things. I knew there would be a problem from episode 1 when the whole poverty porn went on and on and on, and this guy was not doing anything. Like, it was just there. I was like, what will be a problem with this character when because I knew that it was going to go into crime. So I'm like, when did we have a problem with this character? Because episode 2, the same thing continued. It kept going on. And then I thought it would be better from episode 2 to 3, we jumped 4 years. Okay, I was like, okay, I want to see what this character can do. You guys said is an intelligent character. I mean, like someone in tech world who is smart, who is this. Nothing happened. We just went into Obos threatening him that if you betray me, this and that. And I was like, okay, can you guys do your work? How do you guys get money? What do you guys do? what do you guys do? I want to see them grow together. I want to see them, become brothers. Like that one would trust him, and this character, our main character, Ife, was just not doing anything. I will protect my family. Always was saying, I will protect my family. Because this is one of the problems of the series. That was why it was so long. They kept repeating things, doing the same thing all over and over. The introduction of a villain, all of a sudden, like, okay, this villain, what this world you've created, the crime world underworld you've created, what are there no rules in this underworld? And I had one issue I had with this film was this series was, the use of attacking children, children dying and all that was just too much for me. I was like, okay, you guys, can't you attack your foot soldiers, your guys, people you work with, can't they attack them? Why are you killing children in this series? Because the main character was just there doing nothing. It's until when he betrayed Obos, I was like, okay, finally you did something like something I could say, oh, you did something in this series. The writing could have been way better, way better. Um, um, Madam Mo, I mean the detective, is it detective or whatever they call him? Mo, the trauma. I was like, this was unnecessary. We didn't need that trauma. We didn't need that trauma. We could have a crazy character, a crazy officer, a crazy detective, without that showing us that trauma, because it was not the underworld guys that killed our husband and our kids. So why do you have to show us that? And the way everybody is saying the way they process trauma, that is not how. All of a sudden, she was already in therapy within less than a month that this thing, our child and our husband died. How? You don't put people in therapy like that within a month. You don't put people in therapy like that. It doesn't work like that. I don't just explain things. I wish you could just, and the girl in the freezer too. And that one was saying, you want to stay more in the hospital. Stay more in the hospital. Like, wait till happen, she born. Like, a lot of things. She needed to have just done a little research about these things, about the world she was writing about, a little research about some things, and it would have been better. The dialogue kept going on and on. The dialogue kept going on and on. At a point, every time we see Stella and her husband together, the only thing they say is, you are breaking this family, you are doing this and that. They will have the conflict, they will solve it again. They will go back to do the same thing again. I was like, what's going on in this series? What's going on in this series? The things we could have saved for the climax, we are already seeing it in episode 3, episode 4, episode 5. Like, okay, how is Stella already addicted to alcohol? How? Because Lydia gave her alcohol. Is that how she got addicted to alcohol? Because she's rich, now she's addicted to alcohol. It doesn't work like that. This guy too is already addicted to drugs. I'm like, see, this is it's bad writing. I wish this could be, this. I wasn't expecting this from Kemi Adetiba. I like, she's one of our best. So she should give us something, something impressive. I'm sorry, this is bad writing. This could have been better. But the performances, I didn't like Sharon Roseman in this. I don't know. She's a pretty lady. I didn't like her. Michael Ejo, I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Well, I didn't. That's what else to do. And the boss, the villain, Shidi Mokeme, it was bad performance. So I don't know if I have time to come back. I have more things to say. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Nollywood Must Change. Timmy, do you want to tell us what you did not like about To Kill a Monkey?
Um, so yeah, I agree with the music and score, soundtrack, kini kini. There were parts where, like, yeah, I was impressed with what was going on, but I did not like how they used it because it was really too much. Genuinely speaking, there really were moments that I feel like complete silence would have been perfect. They did not need to. I'm sorry. They did not need to do all of that. I'm sorry. I felt like some of the characters were forgotten halfway through the film. I don't think I like how the, I don't know if I'll call it plot elements, were arranged or structured. I felt like they could have rearranged like the points where some things were coming up or some things were established. I feel like they could have moved some things around because like that episode 3, episode 4, episode 5, I was confused. I was kind of lost. I didn't really have that idea where the story was going or what exactly was happening. And when I think I kind of clocked when like I felt like the main conflict would kind of be between um Ife and Oboz, it did not feel it did not feel like that is what they initially started the story with. I don't know if that makes sense. I just kind of feel like the story we started. I feel like this series was 3 different stories. I feel like episode 1 and 2 was one story, 3, 4, 5 another story, and 6, 7, 8 was another story. Um, I didn't get the Evie was supposed to be pregnant, but I didn't. I don't know. I never saw the bump. I never saw like no morning sickness. I don't even know. I don't know if she got an abortion towards the end of the story when she came to her father's house calling him a murderer. I was wondering what exactly happened to the pregnancy. Did she get an abortion? What was up with that? Well, how much time had passed between when she told her father that she was pregnant to the end of the story? How much time had passed? I really had no idea about any of this. I didn't understand why Evie was so in love with Oboz. I did not understand that dynamic. I don't even know what they saw in each other, to be honest. And quite frankly, I understand Ife's frustrations because this man, out of his from his own sanctimonious self, decided to descend into fraud to, in quotes, provide for you. And I mean, I understand why he would have expected better from Evie. So that's why me too, I'm here as an audience, wondering what exactly attracted was his name? What's her name? Evie to Oboz. Was it the money? Her father now has money. So what was it there? You know? The character motivations, I did not really think it was gelling the way they thought it was gelling because um some things were just unclear. I feel like while I was watching this, come up with I had to just make some assumptions for the story to make sense to me. The acting, I feel like because the character motivations was kind of lacking in terms of how it was executed, I feel like the acting was making up for a lot of the writing left to be desired. The what's it called? How do I say this? You know what? Let me just move on to my next point. My next point is that I didn't feel like the world was properly established and developed. I wish that I really saw what these people were doing. This whole monkey operations. I really wanted to see what was so special. What was really going on with this whole monkey kini monkey that because of this you people might come you people might attack me for this, but I feel like this was supposed to be longer than it already is. Maybe 16 episodes. I don't know. I just felt like I really wish we had spent some time with Ife, particularly, especially because from episode 1 and episode 2, when we get to episode 3, they tell us, is it 3 years later or 4 years later? I'm not sure. I just wish before we did that time jump, we kind of saw how Ife really changed. And not just Ife, also the wife. I really wanted to see that change. I feel like that's what that episode 3 was supposed to have been for. I really wanted to see that
Brandon, please.
transformation. Hmm?
Brandon, please.
Um, let me see. How did Onome know where Bimba Kintola was? How did he get the address? Maybe you can assume that if he told him, but I don't think that was made clear. I don't understand why Obos didn't just kill off Teacher. The last episode felt very, very rushed. It did not feel like that is what was the original plan for the end. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right. Okay, thanks to me. And Uchenna, do you want to tell us some of the things you don't like about To Kill a Monkey?
Okay, as is the case in the likes, Vanessa and Elizabeth said much of what I wanted to say very articulately. But I will say that what bothered me most is probably the script, Like, just a few minutes into the first episode, I already knew we were in trouble when we're introduced to the main character through a long info dump in voiceover. Already, I was like, okay, this is not going to work for me. And throughout the whole thing, the script just doesn't work because, as I said earlier, there just seems a mismatch of intention in most of Kemi's work. I mean, I felt the same thing about King of Boys, where I'm being told that this is a crime thriller and there are no thrills in it, and it doesn't seem to understand the world of crime and seems disinterested in it. And instead, what I'm getting is a telenovela. And there's nothing wrong with a telenovela. I can enjoy a telenovela, not when you're telling me that it's something else that it really isn't. So that's the same thing that we got here with just the idea of the crime. I mean, we're given a very sketchy idea of how this guy's tech skills are supposedly supposed to generate a fortune. And then, who said it earlier? Was it Elizabeth? I think, I'm sorry, who said that, it doesn't make sense that this guy who was an old head in the criminal world is telling them to pay him 30% for no reason at all. I couldn't take any of it seriously. I just didn't think it took its own premise seriously. So I couldn't take it seriously. But as a telenovela, it was entertaining to watch a lot of the time. But a lot of it I was pretty bored because of the score. And, as already been said, the score was very telenovela. And the dialogue, I didn't enjoy the amount of pidgin dialogue that was there. I've seen a lot of people praise the Edo pidgin and whatnot. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert on Edo pidgin or anything, but it sounded terribly inauthentic to me. It sounded like somebody, the way they were speaking pidgin sounds like how an educated person who has lived abroad and comes back to Nigeria and is trying to communicate with their driver. It sounded as if the sentences were conceived in the head of the person in standard English, and then they're trying to translate it to pidgin as they're speaking. None of it sounded right to me, and there was so much of it that just made, whenever they started speaking pidgin, I just didn't even want to listen to them at all. What else? Let's see. Yeah, as already has also been said, they rush through a lot of the character development and the plot points that are supposed to hold the story together. But that's a very common thing in Nollywood, to be honest. It's a show don't tell thing when you get down to it. Even though they're actually showing things, it's more of a tell, because rather than illustrating the relationship between these two guys that makes them brothers, we're just told that they're brothers and we're supposed to accept that. And there's nothing, we don't really ever see an illustration of a true bond between them. And then I think the last thing I'll say is that something that bothered me that was also very telenovela-ish and seemed as if they were just trying to live up to tropes. And this just might say something about my own mentality. The whole way we're supposed to look at the tragedy of this guy being forced to sleep with his boss. I don't think any artist should be held to anybody's idea of realism, but the idea of a working class man in today's Nigeria, um, who is told that his financial problems can be solved by knocking his boss, who isn't exactly unattractive, and then he's acting as if he's just been raped by a velociraptor. I'm sorry. None of that made sense to me. I mean, if you had illustrated in some way that this guy is a man of very high moral fiber, or he is inordinately devoted to his wife or something like that, I guess I could understand it. But we're not showing any of that. So I'm like, why is the dude almost in tears when he has to bang this woman who, she's not a bad looking woman, and this is going to solve your problems? I didn't buy any of that. I mean, and then the last thing I think I will say is the pacing. Like, if you look at Netflix, Netflix's standard season length is 8 episodes, but they've never really given that to Nigeria, to Nollywood. If you look at most Nollywood series, they usually have at most 6 episodes. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 4. I mean, the case of what's it called again? That prostitution story. I think it was 3. They usually don't give Nollywood the full 8 episodes, and they gave this the full 8 episodes, and it was just so full of fat. Like the first 2 episodes could have been 1 episode, and it's full of all sorts of stuff that just I felt didn't really add much to the experience, and I really wish that time could have been managed better. I mean, the whole sub storyline with the investigator, it was so glacially paced compared to the other story. I think it would be great if we could go back to the days when TV shows were released on a weekly basis and each episode had to have that strength to it. You know, this whole binge method makes people just feel they can just tell an 8-hour long movie and then just cut it up every 1 hour. But the episodes don't really stand strong on their own. So, again, I think in summary, I'll just say that, it's a telenovela. It's saying that it's a crime thriller. It's not. And that is my problem with this work and my problem with Kemi's work in general.
All right. No, thanks, thanks a lot, Richard. All right. I'm going to read some comments and then Mrs. C, you can go next. Incan said, my dislikes are things I think that can be improved is music integration, let it breathe and shine, tighten up editing in episodes 1 and 2, and refine how symbolism is woven in. Some plot choices felt like they held the story back from its full potential. A couple of others. All right, sorry, I can't find them at this point. Mrs. C, you go on. All right. Paraventure said, an uninspiring premise. I just felt this was a story I have seen too many times already. Had to leave halfway through episode 1, and I have not bothered to continue halfway through. Wow. All right. Uti says, please ask Vanessa if I can marry her because I agree with everything. There was too much of everything, overacting. The score was annoying. There was a lot of telling us how to feel for no reason. All right, Mrs. C, tell us what you did not like about Chicken and Monkey.
All right, where do we start? Who said that they think this could have been longer? I have contradictory feelings about the length. I think this either needed to be a film or a proper series. I'm going to go back to me saying Walter White in this, right? I saw this as Breaking Bad, and it took us how many seasons to get through Walter's full evolution from Delulu to finally realizing that, yes, I am enjoying what I do. I'm good at this. It's crimes. It's great for my ego, and it is what it is. We did get here with this guy, but it was fast. And he was telling this woman in his monologue that when he started doing this, he realized that he was good at it and he was better than everybody else. It's like, all right, but this has happened so fast. Either we make this a tight film or we make it a several season long series and fully explore this thing to its natural conclusion. Mo's whole character, Inspector Mo, okay, maybe not the whole character, but the whole backstory in the bin. Didn't need it, didn't want it. Now, when I saw it in episode 1, I thought it was interesting, right? Her whole thing with her mans and all of that stuff. But the way the rest of it played out, I felt like she was wasting my time. I felt like her whole backstory, her whole arc, her whole investigation didn't matter to me. I didn't care. And it was a lot of the fat that was limiting the story and holding it back. Going to go back to Breaking Bad, we had this detective that was on his case. But why was Hank interesting? Hank was related. There's a reason why Hank being so close to Walter White was interesting and tense and exciting because there was that relationship. He was his brother-in-law. This woman, they have a backstory of being in the hospital on the same night, which coming back to that whole scene where she discovered who he was in her flashback, put it in the bin. Put it in the bin. There is no way in hell that woman in that state that night even clocked that man at all. There is no amount of hypnotherapy, no amount of dreams, no amount of walking through your dreams, unless you're a mystical character that will make you walk your way back to that revelation of that man that night. Absolutely not. I'm going to go to the score. It wasn't all bad, but it was oppressive in a lot of places. I found it too loud, and I thought it was not letting scenes breathe. I think someone mentioned that scene where they're having their father-daughter confrontation and the music is just loud. And I don't know who said it, but you were right. That should have been a quiet scene. I needed to feel the impact of that scene without Oscar's score screaming at me. And it happened in a lot of places. I'm like, you're making too much noise. This scene can handle itself. Give it a chance. Let it handle itself. I don't need you to nudge me. The relationship. The chemistry between Buchi Franklin and William Benson did the heavy lifting of selling the relationship between these two guys. Episode 1 established their history, which I thought was great, but the bond and the progression was severely let down by the script and only sort of sold on the backs of William Benson and Buchi Franklin's chemistry. I say this because we end episode 2 with Buchi Franklin's character telling him, your suffering is not my problem anymore, right? He has rejected his hand of friendship. He has suffered his suffer and he has come back. And Buchi Franklin's character that was willing to offer him supervisor and all this shit at the start, I said, look, you've rejected my hand of friendship. And ordinarily that doesn't come without consequence, but you're my guy, right? Or you saved my life, so it's not coming with a consequence. But I don't care about your suffering anymore. And the only reason he gets let in is because, no, I have idea, I can make you more money, blah, blah, blah. So again, this bond, this brotherhood, we don't have it at the end of episode 2. We start episode 3 with Buchi Franklin's guy leading him onto a boat where they suffocate him for allegedly stealing from him. And then we go to the I was a man, I told you now, again, this brotherhood, the script fails it. Absolutely fails it. Because the rest of this is Efe yelling at him, right? And raising his voice at him and doing things that Buchi Franklin's character ordinarily wouldn't accept without some sort of strong bond. But again, our introduction to their relationship 4 years later is him being willing to let him fucking choke to death. So again, a whole of that relationship, I did not get it. I wish they'd cut out that boat scene. If that boat scene didn't exist, because I think that boat scene was there to show some sort of brutality or potential brutality on Buchi Franklin's character's part, but that ended up undercutting the rest of their relationship for me for the rest of the series. Then, again, I'm sorry. Because their brotherhood was struggling for me, every time he called him brotherly and was explaining to his girlfriend that no, he's my brother, after finding out he was fucking your daughter was 100% wild to me. Insane. I'm sorry. If your brother is fucking your daughter, there are problems.
Brother, son-in-law.
Like, who doesn't want, you say you thought you will marry me, and he asked her who go collect your bride price. That was a legitimate fucking question. Because who's this supposed to pay a bride price to? Is everybody mad? Are we mad here?
Look,
are we mad?
both of us had the rights.
Who will pay a bride price? Oh my God. Then, the relationship with his girlfriend, it moved hella fast. We could have had that as an established relationship when we had our time jump. She could have already been his girlfriend. I know that the whole instigation of the relationship was supposed to be him trying to strike a chord with a boss. And then we ended up giving him some motivation to cheat. And we didn't need that. He could have just had a girlfriend. He's not a wife guy. They want him to seem like a wife guy, and push has come to shove for him to, no. Because the relationship moves so fast, from telling him she's here for a good time, not a long time, to being pregnant, she not be small picking. There is no way in hell that girl is accidentally getting pregnant. Are we all mad here? I know if they have super sperm, but let us be for real. She no be small pikin. She's getting pregnant. She's taking on the world with him. I'm here for you. I've got this. It's been 2 fucking weeks. Are we mad here? Again, this is a bad bitch. We could have had this relationship established. I needed this relationship to be established. I think someone said something about, we've already blown up his granddaughter. What are we doing here? What is the rest of this story? Right? What is let's negotiate There is no 30% after you've killed someone's granddaughter. We're at war. This is war. There is no, I think as I send a message, you go fall back. No, it's war. And if Kemi had decided to go that route, we needed to see war. We needed to see an actual war. There needed to be casualties. Teacher's character, again, to me, was unnecessary. He was brought in to be conflict, right? And to be an external source for that betrayal and to give us a genuine reason for that betrayal, which again seems like it's not the bravest path to take in trying to destroy this brotherhood. You have given us some legitimate reason why, this guy is scared for his family and the boss is being erratic and everyone is consistently at risk. And as such, he has no choice but to betray. Give him a choice and let him choose to betray this guy. Give them a relationship. Give that relationship substance and let him make a choice. Let him evolve to this place from naivety to cold, calculating badassery, and yes, this is me. I am doing crimes now, and I will screw over this guy who gave me my leg up in crime. And you know what? Let him get away with it. Not without consequence. I'm going to draw back to Oba. Oba lost both her children. Oba suffered fucking losses. By the end of KOB 1, which is the only KOB I acknowledge, right? Oba made it out with her life. Give me that. Give me a criminal. Give me a criminal with testicles. What are we said block us so many times and it was severely lacking. I was stressed. And I hated teacher's whole character and all of that. But yeah, anywho, those were my problems. I felt like there was a lot there. It just wasn't done bravely and thoroughly.
Oh my God. All right. Let's see. She has spoken. All right. Things I did not like. All right, let's start with some small things. Drone shots. I think in my good earlier, I praised Kemi with surpassing her peers in a lot of filmmaking things. I don't expect Kemi to be using drone shots as just a minor cut. Oh, we're transitioning. There's some things, I was a little disappointed that was happening. Just establishing shots or, we finished with that thing. Let's go to the next thing, drone shot. It's very normie. It's very normie, Nollywood normie of her. And I was a little disappointing to see. Then we have, so I think at the end of episode 1, I wrote a note about how, because I did enjoy episode 1 on the whole, but I wrote a note how I was going to speak about how, Efe as a character, I feel like there's something he would have had differently if it was being directed by a guy from a male's perspective. And I have to pack all of that because all of that is mute because the whole character to me is it doesn't feel rooted in anything. He's naive when he needs to be, he's naive when the script or the plot needs him to be naive. He's super smart when he wants, the plot wants him to be super smart. I don't know, I don't know where he got charm from, when he started flirting with you guys were like, oh, the people who like the flirting between him and, I didn't even buy it because I was like, when have you flirted? I don't know this guy. Who's this guy who's flirted? You haven't flirted once. You haven't shown charm once. And it was my problem with him is that he was too passive a character. And one of the flaws of the first episode is that, that I let go by because that's fine. Sometimes, it can happen. It can happen. But it just felt like it was a list of bad things that were happening to him. It's like, all right, this thing's bad and happening. All right. And then this bad thing happened to him. And then this bad thing happened. I was like, all right, okay, I get it. Like he's not doing well. And I mean, like, I think Kemi's aware of it because there's a point where then, somebody says God hates you. I was like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. And, it's fine to roll with it in tongue in cheek where it's like, yeah, I get it. A lot of bad things are happening to this character. God hates him, but, happening to him too often without him even trying to do anything. And I remember like the gold standard for this for me is, I told Miss C about this. He said, Yemofe, bad things are happening to him a lot, right? Like since the time he discovers the tragedy that happened, and from one thing to the other thing, but there is something in him where he's trying to work his way around all of these things. He's trying to, all right, let me persevere. Let me find this way around. But with FA, it just seems like he's just getting beaten by it. Oh, it's like the purpose is just for the bad thing to happen to him. Like somebody mentioned, the laptop getting stolen is like, oh, so you can't even pitch what your software is around without your laptop? What are you doing? It just felt like too dumb a character. And so when he starts having, backbone or charm or charisma later on, it just didn't work. It felt like it came out of nowhere. All right. So that's really the meat of my thing. I didn't mean to rush to the meat of my criticism because that's your protagonist. And I think we had mentioned earlier on that Nollywood recently has a likable protagonist problem at this point. He's an anti-hero, and that's fine. But you don't have to. I remember when I was watching, Miss Lee mentioned Breaking Bad. When I was watching Breaking Bad, there's a point where even though Miss Lee didn't even like Walter White at all, but I liked Walter White when I was watching Breaking Bad because I empathized with what he was going through. And I wanted him to come out of the end of it. And it just wasn't the same for him at all. And then, Bimbo's whole character and stuff. Bimbo, I can tell us character, the Inspector what, Inspector sorry. Nothing about that character I cared about. She should have been in prison. She fought jail. She actually fought. Or back to psychiatry. That's wow that she thought that was an okay thing to do. Like she's a criminal. I mean, she's trying to catch, but she's a criminal. She should be. Your colleagues alone. She should be in the jail. So yeah, I didn't care about her. And the one time the score showed restraint, and it was effective, but it's just like I didn't care about her. The one time the score showed restraint was when she was touching the empty bed, like almost it now feels like they're gone, like they're not bothering her anymore. That was good use of restraint of the score, especially since the score had been bothering somebody for so much of the series, just the runtime, just that score. It's just like, I was like, look at me. Yeah. It just felt like at that time though, you used it on a character I don't care about. That was a thing. What else did I particularly not like? Oh yeah, I remember during, what do you call this, TV show, this nonsense, King of Boys Copycats, what's the one with Scar? The one with the vagina. No, that was Far From Home. Oh, that was Far From Home? Yeah. Oh, Lord. Shantytown, thank you. Shantytown. I remember during Shantytown Space, I was like, I did not buy that performance from Chidimo Keme. I thought it had moments, but I thought it was too cartoonish. I don't like, a part of it was to be sort of a little, but like, I didn't see the wonderful performance, and I saw basically similar, but like worse, because a lot of the parts he did in English, especially towards the earlier parts of his character, of Teacher's character, I thought were quite bad. I didn't like them at all.
Mhm.
I completely agree with Vanessa and Michael. Is it Michael Letro? I don't know his name. Whoever, Mo's fellow inspector corrupts body. Just nothing. No, I believe a word of dialogue that came out of that character's mouth. I just didn't buy it. So yeah, but for me, the main issues for this, like all of these things are small things. All of these other things are small things around. My main issue is just Efe's character. If Efe's character was, if his character was like better written and just much more based on something, and I don't know whether, because again, Bucci found a way to make, I'm guessing, either he found a way or like Kemi, maybe this was just the character Kemi was in love with and that she had in mind and everything came after that or something. But either way, Bucci's character was the one that was, for me, was just consistent throughout. And that's, if our lead was that, I think this film would have been, film TV series would have been much more better for me, and I would have enjoyed it, and all these other surrounding things I would be like, yeah, weight it down, but overall I'm happy with it. Almost like close to like King of Voice. King of Voice has some peripheral things that I don't buy and has issues and stuff. But Oba as a character, as a lead, I was rooting for Oba. And I just can't have this, we can't have this protagonist consistently in Nollywood where you don't care for. It's just not going to work. So yeah, anyway, those were the things that I didn't like, for To Kill a Monkey. Second round, seems like people want to do some second rounds. Vanessa, your hands up. Is there anything you want to
It's
say?
not really a second round, but sort of is. I just have like a couple questions. Mrs. C mentioned one of my own. Well, two. One is the first one is that there's no bravery or courage with how Ife is written, and the entire betrayal. Both their betrayals felt like nobody was doing anything with their full chest. You're sleeping with his child, and maybe Obozi's own, he did it with his full chest because he doesn't give two shits. But what is our main character, Efe? You find out this man sleeping with your daughter. The only thing you do is you bring the girl who he was mildly interested in a club to rub in his face. Okay, and like a boss is not a prostitute and sleeps with anything. He was interested in her because she looked pretty, not because there was anything deep attached to it. But you find out your child, he's been sleeping with your child, and you do shit all. There is no courage, no bravery, no nothing. Our betrayal only happens because apparently there's extenuating circumstances and he didn't have a choice. Like Mrs. C said, grow some blockers and give him a choice. And he makes the choice because he just doesn't give a shit. Second point, I even tweeted it. Now, so everybody they carry belle for this their universe. Everybody just they carry belle. His daughter, pregnant. You are an adult. Apologies. You know you are sleeping with your father's best friend. Well, supposed best friend, brotherly. You know that his wife is not going anywhere. You have been around Idia long enough to know that Idia is not moving anywhere. So I'm confused as to why you think a pregnancy is the right thing for you. And again, sort of attached to this is that contraceptive don't exist in this world. They don't use condoms. Nobody's on the pill. Nobody has injectables. Nobody has an IUD. I don't understand. It's one thing for, okay, in the midst of their poverty at 47, she's pregnant with triplets. I don't know, boya he don't ejaculate outside of her, not to be crass, but like, why is everybody pregnant? And then Shine Roseman supposed, cause she says with her own words that she doesn't end up being an actress. And she says she has prize list. So baby girl, this is not your first time around the block. You do usually sleep with men for money. So in this entire time you've been sleeping with men for money, you don't have an IUD. Everybody just they carry belle willy-nilly. My third and final question. Check everybody in this universe, in this film, in that their whole city is deaf. Is everybody deaf? Is the serious question. Because the kind of conversations that they are having in public spaces and all the background characters are just sitting still and minding. You've not set up this world to say, oh, people don't snitch, people don't do shit, or because conveniently, when it's convenient for you, you have the people in the background film their confrontation to the point, just to get to a point where Nosa and Ife fight, and he basically leaves the house because of that. That's the only purpose that video serves, and maybe perhaps for our investigator to see. But unless it is convenient for the script, every time they're having loud ass conversations in public about criminal activity, everybody else is deaf. That scene in the bar where he and Inspector Mo are having a conversation, they were not whispering, no. When he goes into that, oh, woe is me, my man was woe is me at the very top of his voice. And everybody in the background is still. Are all of you deaf? And I'm supposed to buy that was a real situation? What am I buying here? You're not selling nothing to me. Well, Edakun, let this not repeat itself. 8 hours. I did not sleep until 1:30 on Friday because I wanted to watch this so I can come and review it for Film Club because I had a busy Saturday. But let's not repeat it again because I'm not going to give you 8 hours to waste my bloody time.
All right. Oh my goodness. Okay. This my. All right. There are a couple of people who are new. It seems like my Twitter, it wasn't seeing some people's this thing, so I'm going to ask them to speak, and then we'll come back to a second timers. All right, Oyinka, please,
Take it away.
take it away.
Oh, finally. I have nothing to say now. I'll come back to the statement, I guess. Everybody has kind of said what I wanted to say. Yes. So I just want to a little bit, I know everybody has read about EVA's character. Now, I'm going to say something different. I don't think there's nothing wrong with having foolish characters in this type of crime stories. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I just think about how you present them. You have to have the people, your audience understand their foolishness, you know? And she did not do that well. She made choices that I thought, okay, I can see why she made those choices because of what the goal she wanted to get to. But I feel like if you're going to write a foolish character, and I don't think she thought the character was foolish, but after you killed the granddaughter, the character is foolish. The most foolish character out of all of them is Evie. Why I say that is because Evie doesn't get as much character screen time so that we can at least sometimes infer some understanding of her stupidness. She doesn't get that. She's it's not MacGuffin. She's a tool, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing for a female character to be a tool. You play your role in the story. But with that said, she is, because of the story that they gave us about her, she is the least well written. Like, she's the character that I feel like was done very badly on. She could be that foolish, still be all of that. Okay, she fell in love with a man that is exactly like her father, but just less polished, right? Some of those things could have been, some of the things can be caught and then put in how AVA maybe wants attention from her father and at the same time wants to be like, no, I'm rebelling against my father. And that's why she fell in love with the stupid man that she should not be falling in love with. Or if you don't want to write that, at least give her, I'm not even saying that she should not betray her father. I think I even wrote it. Give her a good reason to betray her father. Other than that, she's written in a way that is just so, because, or again, of the limited time that she has, that everybody with their eyes open will be like, what the hell is wrong with this foolish girl? And there is something inferred because she said, oh, you give me to relative after relative after relative. You didn't raise me. I couldn't even talk to my uncle that wanted to rape EVA. Okay. There's like, let's give more scenes to her so that we can understand this foolishness that this girl is doing. That is going to be my one absolute dislike. Absolute, like, no, this time it's not like, oh, difference of choice of writer. I'm not going to say you're a bad writer because you make a different choice than I thought you should make. This one, I would say this is bad. This is very bad. Other characters, yes, it is bad. Like, you didn't necessarily make the right. I don't think you made the best ones. So that's it. The music guy should have definitely. The music was good. Don't get me wrong. The music was good. It was just too much. And the sound integration, there were some times where the music was overheard better than the dialogue. The sound integration should have been done much, much better. And there were some shots that I think that she made that I think that should have been better. Like the shot what's it called? Obos was giving him the key and was talking about, like, okay, the first in episode 2. I am only seeing, what's it called? Which is Franklin's half of face, and the focus is on the key. And I'm pretty sure Richie Franklin is acting with his eyes and his whole face. I think that she should have pushed that shot to be all up on Richie Franklin with the key still in the center frame, but also he's acting with his face, not just his mouth. Also, she should have other co-writers or somebody to edit for her. Like, I'm glad that she's the writer, director, and everything. I don't think she's a bad writer. I don't think she has bad ideas. I think she should just have somebody else to look over it, because no one single person, all these people that say they write by themselves, or they say, no one single person can be doing, like, writing stuff. You still need an editor. You still need somebody else to bounce off ideas with. And I think that's what's happened, because once you killed that girl, the grandchild, I don't even know when Ife finds out that, okay, the reason why this man's motivation has changed from getting 30% to, like, I'm getting fucking revenge because you killed my daughter. You killed my grandchild. I don't even think he realized. I'm like, when is the main protagonist going to realize the main thing that is the main cause of it, something that when didn't you realize that that's it? And then when they told you, oh, the granddaughter is being killed, why, why would you still think these other things? But again, that is an important something. Like, the protagonist has to actually realize the main thing that is his problem. He doesn't even get the opportunity to realize that. Let's say they told him and he's still thinking about, like, okay, doing that or that stuff. Then it's just foolish. But before then, I'm just like, what the fuck? I don't know whether it's just foolish or this is just not something, because he didn't know until the end, until like 2 episodes to the end. And then they asked for his friend. And I'm like, okay.
All right, round up.
So that's okay. So those are the extra things I did in something. So that's it.
All right, thanks, Inko. Dami, please tell us. I guess at this point, you were not here for the good, but you can give us a summary of what you liked and what you do not like.
Thank you. Good evening. So what did I like? The acting. I like the acting. I think that the actors delivered based on what the director told them the movie was going to be. So I know people have said it's overacting. I think the way the movie was edited is the issue. I think the acting was really good. I think if the movie was edited differently, and if the sound was different, if like, I feel like the overacting wouldn't have felt like overacting. I think they delivered. I like some parts, like the micro expressions. A lot of the actors were really good. I think some of the scenes were very well shot. I did like how the film was colored as well. Those were the things I liked about the movie. The series. Okay, so what didn't I like? For one, the story had too many holes for me. like I found myself making excuses at first just because of the writer and the director. I'm like, okay, maybe there's going to be an explanation later on. For instance, I didn't understand the poverty, like based on his brilliance. Like, believe it's the internet age and it's a gig economy. I don't see how someone who's that talented as an engineer would be poor. He may not be wealthy, maybe because he has responsibilities and all of that. Black tax, maybe he won't be wealthy. Maybe but like poor, church rat, poor type thing. It's not realistic based on the skill set he had and the time that you're saying it was short. Like, he's not this engineer, software engineer who is great at coding Python pre-internet era. Like, there's no reason for him, if he has time to be on his computer making stuff that is pitchable and sellable, then he has some time to make some money. Like, that part was so unbelievable. There's no reason for him to be that poor. So from the first episode, I couldn't get it. Like, I just couldn't if they wanted to sell that it was a mental poverty, then he wouldn't have as much drive. So maybe if what they wanted to sell was like he's talented but he's unable to see his opportunities, I think that'll be different. But he did have drive. He was emailing someone multiple times. He was trying to figure out a way. So there's no way for me to believe that with that skill set he'll be poor. Then I thought the female characters were written. Before I go to female characters, I didn't like the graphic design. The opening sequence and the graphic design, not really good at all. Like the whole tech thing, the way the typeface, I didn't like it. I think that's a theme in Nollywood that I absolutely hate. Like, they could invest more into like the graphic design. The design, it's important. It leaves a visual. It sets the pace for what to expect. The graphic design kind of felt like the theme, the issues that I had with the series. And then I didn't like the way the female characters were written, which is surprising because they were written like by a woman. I thought they felt like they were written by a man. Like, the idea of a good wife, like, even down to his girlfriend at the end. I can't remember her name. I'm bad with names. Her character, it was written like it felt like a man wrote that character to be caged. Like, you find this baddie who is street smart, who, like, and then she falls in love with you and is loyal and helping you she's making all the sacrifices. Like, and then I was hoping she was doing it for like maybe selfish reasons, but then we find out that maybe there was the selfish reason because the teacher character sent her. But no, yes, it may have been selfish, but she also fell in love. The female characters were poorly written. Like, Stella Damasus' character was the height for me. Was poorly written. They barely had expressed agency. They barely showed personality. They were badly written. The boss character, I understood his character. I think he was the best written character. Like, his narcissism was very, very realistic. The swing from low self-esteem to delusions of grandeur and megalomania and all of that, and then back to shrinking into being this small boy who needed validation. His expression of love for Efe was realistic because it was not based on an actual relationship, because of that is realistic in context of Obosi's psychological issues as a person. Like, he's not about making connection. He's categorized this person in his mind as someone who, for some reason, he kept saying, you think you're better than me, you think you're better than me. For some reason, I think he thought and believed that Efe was better than him, and he wanted a connection, a relation with
Yeah.
him. So I kind of feel he was well written. So I'll round up now. So yeah, I kind of like his character, but I didn't feel like we were given enough space to like appreciate it. And then the final thing I want to complain about is like they told us that these people were sort of like the criminals, and the plot unfolded so easily for the detective. Like, she was just like, oh, I figured out that it's this. I figured there was no, if they were going to make her like literally lose her mind to justify why she was obsessive about the case, then I feel like they should have done more to make it worth it. Like, there should have been more about why it was so difficult to catch them, because they were like, oh, these are really big, we've been trying to get them, but it was so easy to get them. Like, fixing the plot, it was too convenient. So yes, the story was my biggest issue with the thing, and I didn't like the sound as well. I think like the language, if they're using Pidgin, Edo, these are beautiful languages that we could have made music from. I didn't understand the theme of the sound. It didn't feel thematically aligned. So yeah, sound and story was my big issue.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Dami. I don't know. Somebody's talked about the pregnancy, people getting pregnant. I
Nani.
felt actually something I forgot to mention that was a little bit more prevalent than I would have liked is the use of alcohol. A lot of people started drinking and were having issues because of drinking. It's one thing anyway, we'll talk about that maybe in Pushback, but I've not reached Pushback with Jesus. Why hand still up?
And you didn't let
Why
me
hand
finish my
still
own.
Because it was 8 hours
up?
long. What did you think?
Oh.
All right, Isabel, good.
Okay, so just trying to round up what I had in my notes. But as a side, starting from where Vanessa stopped, my original note I actually wrote everyone got pregnant, but I didn't know where to put it, whether in the good or the bad. So I just left it out when I started talking. But so just to continue off where I stopped, the handling of the central conflict between Ife and Opposite, I already mentioned that it's clumsy. And because there was already a promising foundation, again, maybe because of all the long drawn out version and plot lines that we've seen hundreds of times in other Nollywood films, so unnecessary. So about their characterization and why the central conflict, even using teacher, just ended up making this entire thing incoherent. I know that a lot of people understand Obuz, but I feel like Obu's character is familiar, and that's as far as it goes. There's a consistency in his unfamiliarity. You've seen this. I mean, sorry, the familiarity is familiar. There's a lot of consistency with his characterization. You've seen this money misread character before in real life, and it feels a lot relatable. But I still don't think his motivation is coherent, especially around teacher again, because of the lack of word building of this criminal underworld, because it's barely there. It makes it so hard because I kept rewatching that part where he went and blew up teachers. And again, because you're using mouth to tell us that a teacher somewhere wanted 30%, and then all of these actions, again, because a lot of things, plug gaps, already exist, it does not help your characterization. And even Efe's righteous crusade feels shallow too, because, it becomes this, I care about my family. Again, all of these rigmarole, I care about my family, let's do this. None of them, not even one person, had the brain cell to say, everybody get out of this country. At no point. And when we saw Nosa's character carry her kids, her twins, to run, guys, she ran from one house to another house. I was confused. When I saw that scene, I had to rewind again because, honestly, let me tell you guys, I was fast forwarding at some point because this thing was too long, 8 hours of my life to do this. I said no. I had to rewind. Maybe it was something I missed. What do you mean you move your kids inside one house and move to another one house inside this Lagos? What the hell? Whose idea was that? Again, there's so many inconsistencies in their actions, right? And so as a result, the central conflict feels unearned. Like it is not just feeling, it is unearned, and it fails to meaningfully comment on, because in the good I'd already mentioned that the writer built on this class tension
throughout the series, right? So all this class tension, class dynamics, social status that an interaction that you've already established, this inconsistency in their actions does nothing to this class tension that the series seems so interested in exploring. So I also wanted to talk on, Torera mentioned that, because Efe is the point of view and I think is in response to what I said about it being possible that he's an unreliable narrator, because Ivie told us that he was manipulative and we didn't see that happen. And honestly, I would have loved the idea of exploring an unreliable narrator, because it would have even been really good to have our narrator narrating something else that we are seeing, because they are unreliable. It would have been perfect to have FAB, and I don't know if we have the elevated skill, no offense to anybody, to properly execute that, in which our narrator is telling us from his point of view that, look at me, I'm a victim of circumstances. But the actions are showing that this person, they're also deliberately the aggressor. It would have made sense. But the problem with, I don't think Efe is an unreliable narrator here, is that so many plot lines are left. They touch on it and do nothing with it. There was that, if you betray me, that happened in the first two episodes that we never saw anything about. I didn't buy. I know people like that. Get behind me, brotherly. I didn't buy it, guys. I did not buy it. Like, I was like, guy, there was so much. I know that there was let's talk, and he felt, I've changed and all of that. And he's like, I'll protect you. I've not seen this. He's so inconsistent with so many things. Maybe he's somebody else can rationalize it, but he's very tandem with the fact that, again, our writer talks too much, because they have an idea what they think should happen, one-liners that are great and all of that, but it just does not translate, which again brings me to the inspector that did absolutely no inspecting. Everything fell on her. There was no reason why she was there. I mentioned that the last time. And that conflict between herself and her friend, also / her boss, that went nowhere, that we had no reconciliation. Like, there was no resolution for that thing there. There was no reason why that happened, man. This should just be 4 episodes. And those monkeys, guys, what happened to these monkeys? Anyways, that's it for me.
Yeah, I'll leave monkeys. All right, Tess. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, but I think was that Elizabeth? I just looked. Yeah, I think Elizabeth covered most of it. And I think Elizabeth has covered it, so I don't have too much to add.
Okay. I have a feeling Elon's going to delete this app in a minute. This app is shaking. All right. Nollywood must change. Did you have?
Okay, thanks to everyone who mentioned the pregnancy thing. I wanted to mention it, like, why is everybody getting pregnant in this series? Because they were trying to use it to, like, okay, maybe to, make us feel something for the characters, but it did nothing actually. If you don't, if you don't grow your plot, if you don't build your plot, if you are trying to bring things to, to move it, it won't make any sense. So I had issues with how some things were being skipped, jumped in this series. At the end of one episode, then at the beginning of the next episode, we saw Detective Mole speaking with one of the boys, because I was like, how did they get this boy? How did they find this guy? Maybe I was the one who didn't see it, because I was so confused, like, how did they get this boy? These are the things you are showing us, to make us, root for this character, to make us, Detective Mole, you did something. But whether you like it or not, she's the antagonist. She's the righteous antagonist. She did nothing in this series. She was doing all the things, just like, I want to catch these people, I want to do this and that. And the way she was even doing her work, it was so convenient. Saw someone on TV, you had flashback. And the flashback was like, I was like, are we in a psychological thriller? Are we in a psychological thriller or a crime thriller? Because all of a sudden, you could have flashback to when you were in a trauma, you were processing a trauma of your husband and your child in an accident. And you could remember someone you backed, someone you were backing. I was like, what's going on in this series? Does she have superpowers? That was why I have issue with that trauma, becoming crazy from that accident thing. Like, it didn't do anything. We didn't need it. We didn't need it. We could have a crazy officer. We could have someone who is too dedicated to our work. I was even thinking maybe it was the crime syndicate, or maybe it was teacher or boss that killed our family, but they never brought that up. So I was like, what was the need to show us that? So the way they jumped time, it really affected this series, what they could have used to build the plot and make us root for the characters. I think that's all I have to say.
All right. Thanks, Nollywood's change. I'd say like one of the things I forgot to mention in my one was I think there's a huge part of the second act that is missing where even Efe establishes his importance and his dominance in the production or in the elevation of the fraud that results in more money. That whole part is missing. And it has an issue because like later on it's only just referred to in passing. And by that time, a lot of things are happening as to why probably people don't understand more of the relationship between what's his name, Obas and Efe, right? Because like there's two things Efe has done for Obas at this point. Number one, he saved his life, and number two, he has made him crazy amount of money, or he has elevated him. But you just don't know. We don't know how to quantify it. It doesn't, because of its absence, we don't even know what it means, but like, I imagine it's
Sorry,
there somewhere.
can I buttress? I think we don't see a difference in Oboz's life and lifestyle before and after that integration of AI, before the adoption of AI into his business.
Yeah. By the way, that AI idea that he has was crazy.
Look,
It's
every
crazy, but it's
CEO
fine.
now,
It's
everybody has work. I don't tell you to use AI.
that was crazy. Like, he's like,
Give him the time.
he's just going to have literally,
They're just gonna use
the first
AI,
thing.
man.
Alright, okay. But hey, I don't mind a bit of movie magic. I just, the part that was important for me was just like, we need to see how it affected the impact it had. And it's just assumed later on. Alright. How, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so one thing I forgot to mention among the things I hated. There was this scene towards the end where teacher said, he was talking to Ife and he said something about, you put my daughter in a freezer. Yeah, if I wanted her dead, she'd be dead already. But like, no, she wouldn't have, because we tried to kill her again. And the thing is, I don't even get why he was scary. First of all, the only person he killed, it was one small girl that stabbed the woman. The second person, all the people that he sent, they didn't do anything. Like, I don't even know how. They didn't do any single thing. So why was if he even scared, to be honest? He sent one person and his wife fought the guy. He sent another person and somebody took his eyes with nail. Like fingernail. Like why was it so scary at the end of the day? Like that was very foolish. He didn't do, and he kept on saying, I don't have to spend one more day on this earth. But like they nothing happened though. He didn't do anything. So it didn't even make sense that if it would now turn on his friend because of this guy, because the guy did not seem to have like anything on them. That was one. And then the second thing I forgot to mention, there was this scene again, I think it was in the middle, where they said that they had uncovered some of the cells, and the boss said, if me I go down, everybody's going down with me. And that was the end of that. Like, I don't even get the point of the investigator at this point in time, because they didn't use all of the things that would naturally happen. Like, they didn't even, what did they uncover from the cells that they went to Gan, that they busted or whatever? They didn't say anything about it again. Like, all our investigation led nowhere, and then somebody just came and spun one foolish narrative for her. And she's like, yes, I've come here to arrest you. Look out the window, and she's feeling all high and mighty. She was just a very dead babe. But yeah, that's it.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. And to just highlight the point, I think there's something about the world building and in terms of the security and the strength of all the different sort of factors, factions in terms of, oh, how is it to kill somebody? How is it to get to somebody? You know, it just didn't seem like it was there. And so we didn't really get a feel when somebody did manage to touch somebody. Like, how tense should I be feeling that, somebody is in a particular position versus in a different position, that kind of thing. Maybe just assume that everybody just generally has good security, but it just seemed like though when somebody needed to be got at, they were got at. So yeah, I definitely agree with that part of the world building. I don't think that was pretty strong. All right. I think it's time to move to, the pushback section. All right. Pushback section. Let me see like, do I have one? Yeah. All right. I have a few against, the pigeon being inauthentic. I was like, no. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. The pigeon was good. Telenovela crime. Look, right. I don't know. I have a problem with a lot of the music, and I think it really is lending itself to this telenovela type thing. But I don't have an issue with. I think I'm not actually really sure, because like a lot of what happens in like mainstream crime type of films is kind of is dramatic. All of these things are kind of like operas. It's just tone, and maybe there's something to the different. And I think like what Kemi does with has done with at least this film and the original KOB, even KOB 2, to be honest, is like there is a type of crime film she's trying to tell. She's trying to tell like almost like an accessible, type of crime film where not to reason, don't deep it. It's not that deep. So, but because I don't understand what is particularly all that different from this, again, except where the score for me is really just not appropriate, and it sounds like you are in a telenovela. I don't see that difference, that clash in tone for me if you take out the score. And what else did I say? Oh, so there's the Stella Damasus character's addiction. This is I'm half pushing back against this because I'm half pushing back against this because I agree with you. Like it does feel a little abrupt, but when she takes that glass of wine, there's almost a thing with her thing where it feels like I shouldn't do this. Almost like she was a recovering alcoholic. Now, that is reading a lot, but it's there.
DIY.
It's a little bit
DIY.
a little,
and that's okay.
But it's there though. There is a hesitation. There is a thing.
The hesitation
and it's
is
there.
them being Jesus' cousin.
I don't know.
Bucci calls them
The
Jesus'
hesitation
cousin.
is that he's
Why?
breastfeeding
House
her.
was also hesitating to have some whiskey. He offered him,
He's
he did not
breastfeeding at
drink.
that point.
When first time he offered him whiskey, he didn't want it either.
No, but like, why are you insinuating that because you're religious or
Not being religious.
why
He called them Jesus' cousin. He called this guy Jesus' cousin as holier than thou. Right?
Yeah.
They had a certain level of morality
No.
that extended.
You think the morality extended to drinking alcohol?
Yeah, my guy didn't drink the first time Bucci offered him. It took some nudging for him to drink. So they were both on the same page.
But not drinking doesn't make you. Why does not drinking make you holier than thou?
It's a thing.
If you're religious,
who don't drink are holier than thou. People who drink and see, it's a thing you tell people who don't seem to share any vices, right? It's you're holier than thou. You think you're better than everybody else. It's because you don't share a vice.
Okay, I think that's an interpretation, though. That's all.
Like yours is the worst
I think your interpretation is as solid as my interpretation, to be honest.
It's really not. Yours is worse.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I feel like there's something. I just know that the shot where there's this huge, I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I felt something, and later on when she becomes addicted to it, is like, oh, maybe that's what that hesitation was. That's what that shot was in there for. If it was in there because of, this was her being broken from her holier than thou thing. Okay. I mean, I guess maybe.
Also,
I don't know. I think it's pretty
to
established there that she's breastfeeding. She's not supposed to drink while she's breastfeeding. And her husband, when they do fight after the drinking, pointed out as well that I can smell the alcohol. What about the babies? I don't
also,
know where this
also
alcohol
Yeah,
is
yeah,
coming
that's
Yes,
true.
from
guys,
in
for
the
but
God's
head,
sake,
to
but
to
what's
to,
Yeah.
to
he
increase you guys,
drinking?
she
Oh, yeah.
You know, guys that say then go high school. What they want that to happen.
Yeah.
Stella
But that's
Master's character does say she wants to
Not
drink a
yeah.
whole bottle of wine. The other one offers like a cup of champagne, and then she asks personally for herself a whole
For
bottle of wine.
wine, yeah. Because
Personally
she's
for herself. So it's not like it came out of nowhere. The next scene, when they became rich, we see that she drinks because she asked for a whole bottle of wine for herself, and it was made
yeah.
as a joke before everything became more serious.
Killer, not
Yeah.
the
No,
alcohol.
my thing with the alcohol is that many people were misbehaving because of alcohol. It felt a little much. I think
I mean,
three
who
characters.
amongst us has not tried to fuck a friend's
Sorry,
relative
oh,
after having alcohol?
I
All right.
still
sorry.
think that it wasn't done well when she was like drinking when everything started going down to make it more explicit. I don't think it was done. I thought it was done a little bit too subtle for people to get it into their head that she's a drinker when
Ah,
everything started going bad. It was until the guy has to be like, "Oh, you're drinking," before everybody now, every other person start of get it. But I still think that maybe she should have done it a little. We should have seen her take a bit more from the bottle, like more and two
Bless
before.
yes.
you.
But
Empty
yeah,
mug.
it was done. I thought it was done a little bit too subtly sometimes.
Sorry, before we move on to another person's pushback, I want to push back on Mr. C pushing back on Uchenna while also pushing back on Uchenna.
That's what this section
I
is
don't know
Now
for.
why?
if everyone got that. So I have partially agreed that the scoring of this made it sound like a telenovela, and I also think it's quite indecisive in choosing what it wants to be. Is it a thriller or is it a telenovela? Because the truth is, if you are a crime thriller, you are going to have to thrill. You didn't thrill. Now, here's my pushback on the comparisons with telenovela. As a telenovela aficionado, there are not only just romance telenovelas, there are crime telenovelas. Queen of the South, one thing did one thing to another person. There's crime telenovelas. And I want to break it to every single person. Idu thrill. Idu thrill. I'm on the edge of my seat. I am excited. I want to know what's going to happen next. I am rooting for criminals. Queen of the South. She is a mob boss. I am rooting for her so badly. You don't know. When they took her children from her, I wanted her to raise everybody to the ground to get her children back. Telenovelas know how to heighten emotional stakes, while even when they are doing a crime telenovela, it do thrill. Unfortunately for everybody in this whole series, I don't want to, but I'll be calling everybody by name, so I might as well call Oscar. Like May Elizabeth said, when Oscar was peppering us with his loud ass music, he thought he was going to garner emotional currency from us. It didn't work. Neither was the crime thrilling. So that's why it feels like a mismatch. So you're not thrilling with your criminal activity, and the music that you're trying to draw emotions out of us with by being so loud and intrusive, it didn't work either. So it feels like a mishmash because it's a mishmash. It don't work. Oscar, sir, please learn how to be reducing your voice. It's too loud. The music was too loud. And it seems that if people borrow the music from Finding Messiah, and perhaps return it to where you borrowed it from, because like Dami said, it did not make any sense thematically.
Yeah. I think we're mostly in agreement with Vanessa because yeah,
I
my thing
don't
is
agree with you. I can
the
never agree
score.
with you.
The score. I think is where my issue is, and I don't disagree that there were points where um the crime the crime aspects when it's just like sometimes I don't mind if I'm watching something and it's not thrilling. But if you now add music that is like telling me, oh, this is super thrilling, I'm not only going to feel the mismatch, I'm also going to be annoyed by your suggestion that I should be thrilled. But yeah.
I think that was it for me. Funny enough, it was I kept getting angry every scene where I expect total silence, and I hear that drama telenovela thing. I'm just like, get out of here, get out.
I just want to say, I think I kind of suspected that the crime was not going to be as thrilling because the crime that they chose to focus on is cybercrime. What the man was typing was, I'm a Nigerian prince and all the other something. Okay. And then they transfer money within banks and all that stuff and all that, And I get what I'm so sorry, Auntie Kemi was doing. Cybercrime is not going to be like, what's it called? Drug trade crime in the
But they were
20s in
shooting people, they were blowing up cars.
I know, but that's because they were killing each other. And you know, when I laughed, I laughed when we get into the small cafe. Why do they all have to be in the same place? They don't have to all be in the same place with cyber crimes and all that stuff. In fact, you want them in different places. You know, I get it. He wants to control it. It's more of a visual. So I forgive that. Of course, the thrilling part is going to come out of them killing each other I don't even understand. First of all, as somebody has already said, when you killed the granddaughter, it was already, you're bringing yourself to a place that is an height that she was walking down from. But yeah, that was it. Also, random people were dying because this man named Chicha just had people's feet that he cut off, people's head that he cut off. They have no connection to the story at all. They were just used as threats. And this is also the final thing I also want to put down there. Chicha, there's nothing that happens to Chicha. Nothing happens to Chicha. And Chicha has in this entire show proven to be the more dangerous thing because it's out there just killing people for show.
I
For
think
goddamn
Teacher
show.
died, right?
yeah,
Eh?
teacher
Teacher
dies
died.
at the end.
Oh, at the
But
very, very end?
yes, very,
Oh,
very end. It almost like
then
post
that
Throw
means
credits.
it's,
away. It was a throw away.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried
no.
it with some other people who were
I watched
smarter
it to
than
the
this
end. I'm
guy.
so sorry. I watched it to the end. I did. I just didn't watch it to that second where Chicha died because
So you didn't watch
I
it.
got a phone call and I had to go and I thought this was the end.
No, but you watched it to the end. Is it not post credit scene that they were doing for you people?
Oh
It
no,
I
was
get
post
it.
credit
Because
scene.
Doing
I did
call
not.
to just tell you.
Honestly, I did not watch the credit scene.
It
Like I
makes
thought,
no,
sense.
correct, Oinka, you watched the end. Don't
Don't
mind
worry,
these
Inko,
people.
you're
Just
fine.
oh,
yes.
Nothing that was
because
earned.
I
Don't
watched
worry.
to where it was nearly shot because I watched where the guy went to the court and then under the court paper glue gun in a Nigerian court glue gun under the something and was telling this specific guy to get up and then shot. I was just like, okay. And I thought that was the end of it. And then I saw Fade to Black done by director by Kemi something. Phone call, went to go pick up the phone call, and I thought that was the end.
no, yeah. And then they had
Who
a
killed Teacher?
teacher be
Who killed
just
Teacher?
some.
Some other group that he tried it with, oh.
Hey,
Sorry, I'm shouting to Mr. Sis here. I'm just stressed because I kept saying the most logical line of action for these people was just kill teacher. And lo and behold, Kevin even showed that, oh, he tried it with the
super
ones
easy,
and they
barely
were,
an inconvenience.
Yes, but like, I mean, obviously, this guy has already, first of all, I know everybody says they don't like Chicha's introduction. I actually like the actual Chicha's introduction where he's the one that took the girl and put the girl in the freezer. In this man's own house. It shows that this man is a big threat in your own house. You don't even know where this man is coming from. You don't even know anything. And he did the thing. And that's the man that they decided that they should blow up the man's car. The man that has access to people in your own fucking house.
access to his
All
house
right,
too.
okay, all
You
right.
know?
So we're at the 3 hour mark. We
It's
need to get
true.
to
True.
some
We need to
people.
wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Sorry.
All right.
Wait. I have
Okay.
pushback against you. Can I do my pushback against you?
Okay. What's your
Okay. My pushback against you is twofold. First of all, you said Oboz is a better character than Oba. I refuse.
okay?
Oboz is not a better character than Oba. And I say this because Buchi carried that character in spite of the script and not because of it. Buchi Franklin,
You can't separate the performance from the character.
I am. If this character was
you can do
placed
it, but
in the
that's not how.
hands of anyone other than Buchi Franklin with the same script and the same direction, Oboz's character fails woefully.
The
Buchi
character
Franklin
is both the
is the
performance
guy.
and what is on the script. It's
I
on
will
the script.
agree with you on Buchi Franklin's performance rivaling Oba's performance. I agree. I don't question that. I super agree. Second, you mentioned that this Buchi had, Oboz had a story and an arc, right? Oboz's character developed. The script did not develop Oboz's character. Buchi Franklin gave us. Right?
You keep on saying this is the character. This is the character.
The character never.
The character
Mr.
is the
Sim,
character.
Mr.
The character
Timbanu,
is both
you
the
cannot say that the
performance and
character is what
interpretation
was
of the
written.
script.
The character is what was written, not what Bucci performed.
Yes.
I know they talk like that.
No, the character is what I see on my screen.
We never get a natural evolution of his change or development. All we see is that Bucci embodies a change, but we don't see from where to where. Bucci knows that this character is supposed to have changed, and so he gives that to us in his expressions, in his eyes, in his mannerisms. But the words that come out of his fucking mouth between the last scene and this scene do not tie.
Tell me when Oboz's character is
when
not.
Oboz becomes, and again, this ties back to when you say there's a whole second act missing, and I think that's
By the way, we can make several criticisms of Oba's character, right? As well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The whole second act missing ties back to why this Oboz's character, arc, and development falls flat without Bucci carrying this thing on his back, right? When he has his fallout, we reintroduced with Oboz, what's his name, right? Leading Efe to a boat, right? And being menacing and threatening, and they have put this thing over his face, right? To threaten to kill him over the threat of him stealing from him, right? And then he believes him and is like, whatever. But that is supposed to show us that Oboz is cold, right? He's cold, he doesn't play with his money, and he can switch on you like that. But then the rest of it, right, is Efe yelling at him in front of people, talking down to him in front of people, asking if he's mad, and all he does is acquiesce to Efe's demands. He will talk, he will rant, he will rave, he will come back and he will apologize to Efe. The relationship that was supposed to have developed to make Efe so favored in his eyes happened in that second act, was missing, and when we meet them again, he is not that favored in his eyes in the very first scene, and all of a sudden we've moved on from that. Bucci Franklin sells us that extra brotherly relationship, but the script has made it not work. The script has scattered it. When Efe leaves Bucci Franklin's character, we don't see an impact of his loss, except that Bucci Franklin is showing us the emotions of missing him, right? But we don't see the impact to his business. He's supposed to be the brains behind this new branch of the business. We don't see the impact to the business. We don't see a loss happening. Right? He comes back with anything you do, anything you want me to do for this guy, I will do. Yeah. Why? Bucci's face makes me believe that this person means what he's saying, but the story you have given me so far does not tell me.
So you're saying on the page you think Oba's character is better written. That's why I did not talk about writing. I talk about the character. Right. The character is a combination of everything together. The performance cannot be taken away from it. For me, I think maybe it's because we're not talking about Oba's character now. Oba had some things, even in the writing from KOB, that you could also criticize. Just we're not talking about it now.
Yeah.
I remember like the first opening scene, remember, Oba like takes a hammer and like destroys somebody's head, like Thor. And then from there, we don't see Oba like,
Oba lost her bite.
And then Oba like loses her bite with certain things. Like we could, trust me, I know the Oba character very well. I'm not saying this character is perfect. I'm saying this is now my favorite. All right.
Anyway, Mr. C. Mr. C, I can't believe you did this to me. Bring me to a point where I have to agree with Mr. C. But as a whole, this is definitely the better character. What Oba has over this character is that we get to see her evolve. We get to spend time with both past self, current self. We get a full spectrum, which is great. That's on the writing. It's not necessarily the character itself. With this character, Buzz, and when you even talk about the opening scene when they reintroduce themselves 4 years later and he's strangling him or whatever on a boat, trying to suffocate him, it establishes that a Buzz only cares about his money primarily. And the rest of the things that you're talking about, where he tells him to shut up or calls him mad or yells at him, none of those things affect his money. That doesn't concern him. It's vaguely annoying. It's disrespectful, yes. And he even tells them, don't ever talk to him like that again. Until Effie gets to the point where he establishes, you and I are partners. But his primary focus, his primary concern is his money. As long as you're not fucking up his money, and this is regarding Effie, he then that's his brother. I don't think that's conflicting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and Mr. C are wrong. It's all right.
Yeah.
It happens.
I
Very
remember
wrong.
like when I remember when even like Ozibi, like he's probably Ozibi at like, how much are you making from me? Well, like
Yeah,
all
exactly. Like,
you do is eat
Ozibi
my
was
money,
behaving like an
like
ex,
my
to be
bitch.
honest.
Ow! When he comes like my bitch, all you do is eat my money. Like, yeah, he's
But
very.
he was right because Ozzy was in love with him. No, no. Now I feel like this is something that we've not put here. Somebody, I think it's Otas that has a theory, but I want to expand on that theory and say everybody in this film was in love with each other, and all we are feeling is repressed, unexpressed love. That's all this conflict is.
Sexual
Unexpressed love
tension, actually, not
and
love.
sexual
Sexual
tension.
tension.
Everybody did that
Ozzy
for
and
everybody.
Obos want to see
See,
each other, but they cannot.
yes, and
I'm
Obo
sorry.
told him,
Ozzy B
okay,
wants
if
to
you
sleep
don't be
with
man, I
Obos.
will lick you. Obo, just get past that barrier.
Exactly.
Because
All right, you guys.
Same with
Okay.
Ozzy B
All right.
and Obos. That's why Ozzy B was crying,
Ozzy B
shedding
wanted
hot
to eat the
tears.
butters out, and they should have let him.
He was
Ozzy,
heartbroken. This
Ozzy
is
B
just
wanted to be his.
unexpressed love and sexual tension, guys. That's genuinely what this boiled down to.
you guys are nowhere. Okay, all right. But
No!
I did say the
If
ship.
not sexual tension, why sexual tension shit?
I did say the ship that it was Ozibi and
Obos.
Obos. And it's not just, I wasn't just making a joke, but I was saying that that's actually the relationship I completely believed in more than anything else. I didn't actually buy a lot of the relationship, the chemistry between them, like anybody else. But all the people, actually no, Obos and his wife also. That
Right
also,
or fucking die.
that's a proper ride or die. Yeah, couple, yes. But everybody else, I didn't buy their relationship at all. But yeah, any other pushback before we do summary?
That on
Me, me.
Veronica, who was anti-EVA there, and I think that that makes more sense as far as so EVA clearly has daddy issues. That's clear, and she's looking for a daddy, and she finds her daddy, in more ways than one. And it makes sense to me, the fact that she even betrayed her father in the end, who was barely a father to her. I think her character makes more sense than Nusa's character. Um, all the women are badly written. I don't think there's any way around that, except for Mel, who they try to give complexity to. But Evie is not stupid. Evie is young and searching and just wanted her father. I think
EVA is 24. She's
that's
foolish.
young. She started dating a boy
No,
when she was
no. At
22.
24, you should know when a man doesn't leave his wife and you actually know this man is dangerous and he's doing all this stuff and has multiple other girls and siblings. No, you are 24.
Yeah,
No,
but she
that's
started
foolishness.
dating a boy at 22.
Wait,
And the
You're
rest of the
talking
No,
in
girls
their
that a boy
50s
was
and still
with,
believing he will leave his wife. So I don't know
the
about
rest of
that.
the
Yeah,
girls
no,
he was
EVA is,
with
no,
after
we can't
after
be
his
making
wife
excuses.
were
Love
one
have
and
not
two.
Young,
developed.
sure she's
wait.
young. You can be young
Frontal
and
love
foolish.
have not developed.
No, but they
When
started
I was
dating when she was
24,
is
younger.
there
I
any
didn't do that shit.
not present?
They
When
started
I was
dating when she
24,
was like
when I was
22.
18, a man tried to talk to me. And I was
Uh,
like, ooh. Sorry,
So
It
it's
was
Baba.
not
really
the,
No,
like
if
it's
I
not,
was
this is not about
18
your
and
life.
making that decision, you
This
now
is
be
not
like
about
Sorry,
you.
the tea
24.
is street.
Daddy
This is not
issue.
about you.
First of all, I didn't say that. I said I wasn't against our characters doing what she was doing. I was just saying that the
But
plot, the way
surely you can buy that somebody who believes that they will leave their wife for. That's like so common in like
it is
Nigeria.
common, no, but we can't be
It's
saying
very,
that
very common.
somebody is young, and it is just foolishness. It is just foolishness because as 18, even at 16 too, because people be out here. I was like that stupidness. Bye bye. There's a lot of girls, more women know that stupidness. Bye bye. So
But
it's
people
just
are still
foolishness at
falling for it,
24.
otherwise
If a
people wouldn't be
16-year-old
using
can
it.
be
But
smarter
that's not
than
the
you at
point. The
24,
point
that's
though is
that's
that
that's a,
Ivy meets this guy at 22. Actually, she meets him at like 20 because 4 years back, and she
but
starts
you're
dating
supposed
him
to.
at
So
22.
you're supposed to be struggling for 2 more years and be like, oh, he's going to leave his wife. Now, man never no leave his wife. First of all, even if he doesn't leave his wife, his community dick up
Anita,
and
let me
down.
finish talking before you keep interrupting me because you're driving me crazy. Point though is that outside of that, the rest of the relationship Abuz has with the other women, like yes, he's with a lot of women. They're all very clearly established as one night stands. Idia, who is very clear and comfortable in her role, who even tells Nasa at the beginning, I'm not having a baby. If he wants to have another baby, he should go outside. When push comes to shove, she then tells Nasa, I want your daughter. So clearly, something that isn't shown, and that's a major problem, something that isn't shown, a relationship that isn't shown, happens in that time span, somewhere between 2 to 4 years when they meet. That's clearly serious enough that Evie believes that he will be with her in some capacity, regardless of the insane issues that exist. And Idia feels somewhat threatened. And Idia is one of the more settled characters in the whole movie, in the whole series, who nothing shakes her. However, still feels the need to do the warning of clutching a child. I don't think it's insignificant.
I my first criticism is not necessarily like EVA doing what she's doing. I not out having something. I did say foolish characters should be written. Like I was, and what I was going, what my actual something of what I said was that I felt that the writer did not give this character enough time so that um the audience can understand where she's coming from, because I felt like it was too rushed. I felt because of that, that was why she was sacrificed. I didn't say that the character actually changed. I didn't say, I actually think it's perfect. I actually think it's okay for that character to be written. I just thought that she was done a disservice because there was not enough something to be shown of like, okay, having more people understand. Like, I get it.
Okay.
You
All right,
went
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah. All right.
you know?
Okay.
But
All
other
right,
than
yeah.
that, I would not give the idea that, oh, because no, I think she's a foolish character. I think what you made is a foolish
All right.
decision, but it's still okay.
Got it. Let's close that one. I think that one has ended at a summary. But I understand. All right. Still a few pushbacks to get through, I guess. Let me just add that, some more Bucci praise because I just remembered Bucci's death, when he's getting killed and Bucci is getting shot, and as he's dying, Bucci is more concerned about you see in his eyes, he's more concerned about the betrayal, literally, than the bullets that are going through his body. I don't want to hear anything nobody should ask me this question about my favorite character. It's my favorite, I think, like, go and find your own. Go and find your own. Like, this guy destroyed this character. What are you telling me? He's like, ah, anyway,
Again,
alright, dab me,
Francis
please.
supremacy, not a boss supremacy.
Okay, so my pushback is on the person. I can't remember who said it, but Sonny said like they're not sure how a Nigerian man in this like time period will feel some type of way about the boss like demanding for sex, for the loans, etc. And I have pushback on that because I think for him it was very obvious that like at I think what the writer was trying to tell us and the director was trying to tell us that they were in a poor but like happy marriage, right? Their major problem was poverty, and he wanted to, and it makes sense in the sense that like he felt like this inadequacy, and he felt that his wife loving him despite the inadequacies he felt, and the inadequacies that he, like the things he wasn't able to do, right, was enough reason for loyalty and loving her and whatnot. Because I remember there was a dialogue we had with the other guys at the restaurant, and they were like, oh, they were admiring Sparkles. I think she was on TV, and then he was like, that's their business. As for him, he has someone who loves him, for him, despite not having anything. So I don't think that that was unrealistic. I think the feelings that he had, not wanting to oblige to her demands, were very, very valid. And I actually like that that was included in the movie, a bit the series. Yeah. So I feel like it was well written. I like that the writer didn't like make him shrug it off as just like something. I like that the director was bold enough to express that this was a sexual violation. This was sexual assault. And the way the reaction to it and feelings around it, I like that they didn't hide that he felt that he had been violated. That's my first pushback. And then my second pushback is back to Oboz. I disagree with everybody who is saying Oboz wasn't well written. I feel like, yes, I agree that the actor kind of like really sold it, but I do think the character was well written. Like even his irrationality, even the moments where he seemed, like for me, his character was very clear. Like he didn't joke about his money. He'll get the job done. Like if it was in his way when he came to this teacher guy, he would have finished teacher. Like he already bombed his daughter, already was lashing his father. Like if you leave this guy, he will finish teacher and become the new baddest guy in town. Like he was very effective. Very effective, didn't joke about his money. Like the decision that he will not give a dime, he will not give shishi out of his money to someone else, was very realistic in context of like who, or very aligned with like who they had presented him to be. With if it is the person that he said saved his life, and he seemed like despite all his all back and no bite, he was going to strangle him because he thought he was messing with his money. Like that's the only thing that really, really like moves him. Obviously other things like move him, but he seemed like with his money, he's not playing. So him bombing the granddaughter, he was going to do the job. If it had ruined everything for him, like he was efficient when it came to his money, didn't joke about his money. And his irrational like outbursts when he was on alcohol, they were very consistent. He was a very small man inside. Like he had this massive inferiority complex, and he was always trying to project as bigger than he felt. And it was very obvious in his dealings. Something about Efe, it wasn't, like I said earlier, it wasn't actually in their relationship. It was what Efe symbolized in his brain. And even in the dilemma where he was like with his wife Idia, and he was saying that am I a bad person? And he corrected himself and said, am I that bad a person? And like, why wouldn't this guy want to be with him? It was less about the relationship he had with Efe and more about his internal conflict as a person, and what he had projected onto Efe, and what he had projected onto Efe as a symbol in his life. So like his character for me was very, very well written. Like he was the best written. The rest of the characters, I don't think they were well written. But for him, I understood him from beginning to the very bullets that killed him.
100%. 100%. All right.
Yimu, I just want to, sorry, I want to push back on your pushback. Specifically about, I'm gonna defend Uchenna here, which I don't know if I've ever done this before, but come on. I don't think I understand in the his wife's loyalty to him, despite his inadequacies, is the reason for his loyalty. I think it's just you doing a little DIY Nollywood. Cause in that very scene where he says, I have a wife who loves me, he was drooling like the rest of them over Sparkles. It's not like, and this is the thing, you can't tell me that a character is has this much integrity, but don't show that he has that much integrity. Nothing in the beginning of this series have we seen that this man is a man of deep integrity to warrant his strong stance of not sleeping with his boss to procure money to save the life of said wife that he supposedly, "Oh, I'm sorry, oh, and I'm not here trying to justify sexual harassment and infidelity. However, you don't have shingbai and your wife is in labor with triplets. My brother, drop your trousers. Sorry to all these. No! Yeah, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? If that's the only way you are going to make money, drop your trousers. I'm not justifying anything. However, so if you're going to give me this hesitation to do what is absolutely necessary, then you've got to show us that he has integrity. And then for them to conveniently, and this is the thing about a lot of the contrivances and the convenience that we just have in this series. So you do this whole thing where it's like he has this hesitation to do wrong things, but ends up doing them anyways. It's the same hesitation he has when they show him the other half of the business and he says, "I'm not going to do it." And then in his very next breath, after give or take 12 hours, he's right back at it. In fact, giving us idea to push the wrong things even higher to make more money. Sorry, this man has no convictions. This man has no integrity. This man blows anywhere with the wind, hither and thither. Sorry, that is not a character with any integrity. And sorry, again, push back again. Obos was not a well-written character. What we have is Buchi Franklin's dissection of said character that was written and his interpretation. Buchi, it is quite obvious
I
that
said he's
Buchi,
a well-written character. I said he's the best character.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the person that came to
Okay.
buttress your own, and she said it's well written. I'm saying he's not well written. Bucci obviously took time to give Obo's background, give him motivations, which is why the emotions that he was portraying with his acting were sold. It's not
Nah,
that the character was well
Now,
written.
you guys will still not take it, at least from some of the writers. I remember when when a boss is going, has a ZB called, and it's like, no, has a ZB come back, it's like, no. Should I call him? That's good writing. Yeah, that's just good writing. And that's subtext as well. That's telling you exactly how
You
he
want to
feels.
know
He's
what
showing
I
you
think
your
was really good
insecurity.
writing in this?
Oh God.
You
Oh
want to know
yes.
what I think was really good writing?
I fear to ask, but go on.
Tisha wants to kill me. That honestly, that's the only time that I said whoever wrote that, well done, because really Tisha wants to kill me. That's all. That genuinely is the only thing I thought was good writing in this entire series. And maybe perhaps don't mention. Otherwise, the rest of it, I don't know what was going on.
No, all right. In the car.
Why is jumping in, Mr. C? So my own pushback is those who said the grief was well done in this. Please, that grief was done as an oral, because the moment they were showing us our son was calling mommy and his face just changed to one Ayamatanga stuff. I was like, what's going on? What kind of are we doing oral this time? Please, I beg, that grief was done well done. And then someone saying, okay, the character was like, if his character was okay to be stupid, please. You know, we've been referencing Oba, we've been referencing Breaking Bad, we've been referencing other characters. Were they stupid characters? Even though they might make a stupid decision once, but they were not like they're just passive from start to finish. I beg. Please, this is crime thriller, not crime and comedy. We can have crime and comedy where the lead character can just be, stupid and just stumble upon maybe a syndicate and, do all those funny stuff. But please, this is a crime comedy. I mean, crime thriller. So the character, our lead character doesn't have to be stupid. Oboza, what do they call her? It was stupid enough for me. in this series. So when you put two stupid people together, no, it didn't make any sense. Do you understand? So about this is not a pushback. I thought Evie was an easy target for teacher. I don't know why they didn't go after her because she was not living with her father. She was living alone. I don't know why nobody tried to kill her. Of all things, I was like, why not kill this girl? Because she was just an easy target. So I don't know what they were thinking. They didn't listen to that part. And Mr. C, push back to you. I think you like the idea of Bucci playing this character very well, not the character itself better than Oba's character. No, this character was never better than Oba's character. You just like the idea of Bucci being a good performer and not the character.
I don't understand you guys that keep on separating somebody's performance of a character from the character. I don't know I don't even know what that
Because there is
means.
a difference. Acting is not the same thing
The
as
performance,
characterization.
no, I'm talking about the character. When I say this is my favorite character, I'm talking about the way the person is written, the way the person is performed, the way the person is costumed. I'm talking about everything. I don't know what you guys mean by,
Characterization is not the same thing as character. That's the point. Somebody acted a character well. Did you hear that? Acted a character well. The character is about the characterization. Oh, yeah.
the character. No, if you say I like this character, this is my favorite character, I'm talking about everything about the character. I'm not talking about the characterization. There's a reason why
Okay,
these are two different words. Character and
Mr. C, go and
characterization are
sleep.
two
Go and
different words.
sleep.
how was the character better than Oba?
I've already explained. So we don't.
Hey,
I already explained. I've given you layers to what I liked about Butchie. Even like I gave an example of like, even like when Vanessa said like it's all in the acting. I gave an example of the writing where it shows his insecurity. It shows his insecurity, and yes, and then obviously the performance of Butchie, which I think is incredible. Maybe an all-time, almost certainly an all-timer in terms of Nollywood performances. So yeah, I think those things together is what is making him my favorite. I don't know, like a lot of the things that are issues that I've agreed with other people is in terms of relationships, where it has to do with the relationships between both of them. Like even the relationship with Abbas and what's his name? Efe. It feels like it's even Efe's part that I don't really understand, because from Abbas' point of view, this is somebody who makes him money and also who saved his life. I get that. I don't know why Efe is like all the brotherly part. Yeah, but the brotherly, this thing, almost like it feels more like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Efe is enjoying money. That's why he's calling him brotherly too. Efe is a kept babe too, like all the other kept babes in his life.
See, like
I'm
something
sorry.
else, some other term of endearment would have made sense, not brotherly. You know, brotherly feels like a different term of endearment. Like this guy's your sponsor, or this is like daddy. You should be calling him daddy, like, or something. I don't know, like something.
Efe supposed to call him boss, but if you no one call him boss because he don't know sabi speak English. Now why if you no one call him boss?
All right. Anyway, let's do a summary.
Sorry, not to defend Efe, but Efe been they call him boss. Now boss tell us say no, call me boss, call me bros. Sorry, it's not Efe's fault. You can't tell me to not call you boss. And me too, I'll not be doing stubborn here to call you boss. And
No,
the
it's
doctor say they call you bros. I'll call you bros now.
behind his back. You should have been calling him boss.
I beg you,
Something
may we hear
can't
words.
be. Can't be calling him my
Sorry, my
brother.
final pushback. I know we've said that people are stupid, but every single person in this thing is stupid. And you know why the writing is even more stupid, including me that sat down for 8 hours to watch it. I mean, no more was stupid, because that post-credit scene that you people were that Kemi Adetiba quite conveniently told us that another group of criminals were so intelligent enough to realize that all they needed to do was kill teacher. It's quite literally unraveled everything that we have done and wasted our 8 hours for. Because to be quite
To be
frank with you,
fair, I
no,
agree with you.
to be quite frank with you, every single time that they sat down together, not be so we go do them. We can't just
I
go
mean,
on
they
it.
could have
Okay, what
just
should
killed
we
Tisha.
do? What should we
They know his
do?
house. They bombed his grandchildren. They could have just killed him.
You are even going too far. Shebi is ordinary video that was posted on his Facegram. Sorry, not Instagram. Facegram that ended with Efe ending up in prison. Shebi, you just in episode 3, you showed us quite artistically that Efe can do AI deepfake of somebody saying one thing. So why did they not do AI deepfake of teacher committing the most heinous of crimes? Sorry, I don't know if perhaps all of us are lacking in common sense, including us. We spend 8 hours to sit down to watch this thing. Because Mr. AI, I'm so smart, so technologically advanced, he could do shit. Ah, God.
All right. Okay, let's do assembly, please. Let's do assembly.
I've not done
Who's
my pushback. Oh,
Please, I have one more pushback.
who's
I'm
One more
not
speaking?
pushback.
Somebody
me.
they
I'm
kill a
not on my
boy.
pushback. Oh,
Is that Nduka?
yes.
Yes, and Dami, I have pushback too.
Damn it, I gave you a chance. Nduka.
Sorry, I forgot what the
All
brother
right,
did.
yeah. Yes. Nduka, please give us your pushback.
Okay, my pushback is that it's for people who say it should have been shorter. I think it should have been longer. Hear me out. I think that time skip was the worst thing to happen to the story. Because in that time skip was all the character development that Efe went through, that the relationship happened between he and what's his face, or boss the boss, that his wife went through her own character development, that a lot of things changed. So when we are now like in episode 3, we are introduced to new characters who are worse than the characters we had in the beginning. So if we had at least 1 or 2 episodes in between that, instead of a time skip that shows us what exactly it is if they did during that period that made this money or whatever you get, and that's what changed them. We get that it's money, but how did it change them to become who they are now? I feel like it would have been better. So I think it should have been a 10 episode
I
series.
don't
I
think
think it should
10.
even
They
be
should have
more.
cut the
And
first
I've not, I sorry you, I also
episode.
think that they should have kept the villain instead of killing him off at the end, so that, I don't know, killing him off, like Vanessa said, just cancel the whole thing. Just look like they just showed him randomly hanging from a roof. So it was just like, oh, it was that easy. It was that easy. He wasn't that much of a bad guy. And they didn't do it since. So I'm like, I shouldn't have killed him off. Just made all their efforts useless.
Nduka and Timmy, people are weapons fashioned
They should have
against
even
my
killed a
health.
bomb before. Like, what are they?
You
They
people
could
are
have cut
weapons
certain
fashioned
stuff
against
out,
my
not
health.
added more episodes. Like the whole monkey thing was useless. The whole cells and cell like nonsense. They should have just used that time to develop relationships between FA and Abuz and FA and his wife. Show the deterioration of their marriage, all of those things. They needed an episode for that, but they wasted all of that time doing nonsense. Um, Teacher was nonsense. They didn't need that, and they also didn't need the focus on Mo's like backstory. That really only needed like one even episode, if that.
Okay. No,
My final pushback, quick. It's just a quick pushback. It's on all people that said they like the flirting and whatnot between Ife and Sparkles. Please, they should not do that again. It was so HR coded. Like, what is going on? It was very flat, very monotone, very like I wanted to fast forward. Every time they came on my screen together, there was zero chemistry. They didn't even look like they liked each other. He was so stiff around her, and not even in like a stiff, oh, I'm nervous type. She's so out of my league. I'm nervous. No, just stiffness, like you're not used to this. And there was nothing about it that felt like, oh, she also believed he wasn't used to it. So it was just awkward. Even the chemistry between him and his wife, Stella Damasis, tongue twisting. Her character to me was also Steve. I think he's a very fantastic actor, but I had a tough time believing the romance and the flirting and all
Sorry,
of
me, I
that.
want to
So
push
Yeah,
that's
back.
my
It's a
final
lie. I
yeah,
want
feedback.
to push back against that pushback because me, I tweeted. Sparkles,
yeah.
I understand because what I would not accept. William Benson is an incredibly attractive man. Mrs. C knows that man is my sugar daddy. He doesn't know it yet. Sorry, I believed it because he's just hot. So everybody else, I don't know why they believed it, but me, I
I,
believed it because he's hot. Thanks.
I wish they really played lens on that, like his good looks, because like it could have at least made up for why he was getting some things
It's
that was.
because they did not show how tall he is. And I'm sorry again to whoever the camera person was. Are you afraid of showing his long legs? Because if you should see William Benson in his full height, that man is tall. And you know, there are some men where you're like, are they hot or are they just tall? William Benson is both. William Benson is hot and tall. And whoever was filming it did not film it in a way to show us that William Benson is hot and tall. So it's not his fault. Blame the person that was holding the camera.
Yeah, no. To buttress Dami's point, I think it's something in terms of that chemistry. And I think I mentioned something about chemistry with people lacking, and the only thing I believed was Ozib's and Obos's chemistry. And I think it's something about not. Although I think this might Although I think this might be interesting to some of you, but I don't think they kissed in that series. And I don't think a lot of people noticed that. But people probably noticed, at least I think what Dami noticed was the lack of chemistry. But remind me, do you remember anybody kissing lips to lips? I don't think it happened.
Nosa and him kissed though. He and Efe and Nosa kissed though.
Efa and who?
Efe and
Who?
Nosa kissed.
Who's Efe and who?
His
No,
wife.
sir, his wife.
They
Stella
kissed.
Damascus.
I don't recall that actually.
They kissed and it was
Lips to
odd. It
lips.
was very
Yes, they
odd.
kissed.
I don't actually.
It was very
Okay.
odd.
I don't actually recall much, and
There was
it
not a
felt,
lot of kissing, which again
yeah,
is a problem because everybody
it felt
wanted to kiss
awkward.
everybody. They should have just let them kiss.
It felt very, it felt very awkward when people did not actually kiss,
I kept yelling,
when
just
they were
kiss. I just kept yelling, just kiss. Efe and Obos, just kiss. Ozibi and Obos, just kiss. Everybody just
alright.
wanted to kiss and they did not let people kiss. I genuinely believe so.
Well, okay, I was talking about the relationships actually
Oh,
intended.
actually, you know who else kissed? You know who else kissed?
Who?
Kiss Daniel. Kiss Daniel and Stella Damasos, they do kiss. Or didn't
What?
they? Yes. Kiss Daniel. You think Kiss
No.
Daniel would not kiss? Kiss Daniel
Wait,
kissed.
where? No.
Oh no, they
No.
didn't. It
Stop
was
it.
just
You're,
they
They
just
didn't
implied
kiss.
that they hooked up.
you guys are just making up
Are you
memories.
sure they
Yeah, it was
didn't
just
kiss?
implied that they hooked up, but they
Are you
didn't.
people sure? You know, me, like Mo, I
Yeah.
was fast forwarding. So when I
No,
saw
they
their
didn't.
foreheads, in close connection, me, I thought they had kissed though.
Yeah.
See, that small scene between Daniel and Stella, that short scene in the hospital, for me, even had
And
more
that's because Daniel
chemistry,
is a
had
kissy
more.
person.
All right. Anyway, let's just do summary, please. I beg. We have only done 4 hours. All right, Vanessa, please give us your summary.
This was 8 hours of my time that I would never get back. And to be
Bitch,
honest,
you never get back any hours of your time, to be honest.
that's besides the point. That's besides the point. There have been hours that I will not get back, but I remember fondly. This I don't remember. I will not remember these 8 hours fondly, and I will never get them back. Um, uh, guys, episode one's all right. There's some pretty good performances in this, but overall the writing fails it. Bits of the directing fail it as well. Yeah, guys, it's 8 hours long. Genuinely, regardless of anything, don't do it to yourself. Watch episode one and honestly fast forward to episode 8 and I feel like you'll get the gist anyways.
All right. Thanks, Vanessa. Otas?
I actually enjoyed this. I think if you watch it in how someone said it, like a telenovela in that way, it has entertainment value. and the acting is good. There are things that draw you in. So, if you want to watch it, watch it. I would even maybe recommend it if you're looking for something fun to watch. Just don't think about the end too much. Um, yeah, it was great to see all the people that were in it. Butchie Franklin is phenomenal, and I hope to see him in more things, using that acting for good use. Loved seeing Stella. Hope to see her in more things. I can go on, Bimba, all of them, love them, come back. Chidima Keme, find a different role. You have tried the villain role a couple times now. Loverboy was your strong suit in the past. Let's go back to that. Yeah, it's verbose. Let's cut out some of the fat and try and focus on making our characters actually feel like people.
All right. Okay. Thanks for that. Elizabeth has disappeared. All right. Nuka, give us your summary, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my summary, I absolutely enjoyed myself watching this. I had a blast. Like I said, I love a spectacle, and this was well delivered. There were strong performances. I liked how the tropes that were used was very rinsed, like they use them, right? So I liked it. It was a bit tropey. I know I said I like how they were used, but yeah, it was a bit tropey. But I also, like I said, I would have preferred that we understood better this relationship that the whole film was being hinged on. But like, that relationship was not, explored. And, the character of Ife was just too stupid to be alive, if we are being honest. The character was too stupid to be alive. But like, thankfully, William Benson really played that character really well. So yeah, those are the thoughts I can remember right now. I'm sure I've missed some, but yeah, that's it.
All right. Thanks, Nduka. Elizabeth, do you want to give us your summary?
Yes, I'm just going to echo some bits. Please trim the fats. So many flop. I think I'm going to say that I'm going to ask our auteurs, our filmmakers, producers, directors to try letting other people write sometimes. This is not like try it, or give somebody a second, ask somebody to take a look at it. I feel like this could have been tighter. There's nothing wrong with tropes. There's no story in the world that is original, actually. So yeah, nothing wrong with tropes. I just feel that this series is lacking in cohesion, and because there's so many moving parts, it's easily distracting. And then the person was off, also distracting. Music was a mismatch, also distracting. So I would just say that it's frustrating, at least for me, because the potential feels wasted. You have this camera, everything, actors, fine actors, and it feels like all of these strong praises for the casting and the performance does not just gel with completely on the underwhelming and flawed script. So final is original, the pacing is slow, the characters talk too much, motivation was clumsy. Well, I've said music score was pointless, distracting. It's just a letdown for me, but it's a fan service. You should watch it. You will enjoy it. You'll get bored by episode 3, but don't worry. Keep going.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. Nollywood must change.
Okay. I'll say for the level of the director and the writer of this series, I think it should have been better because she's one of our top, directors. But I just want to I don't know, maybe she should create a writer's room where she could just use them and that. I don't know, because I just feel like she could have done better than this, way better than this. Because if people are looking up to you, you should be at the level that you should be like where you train people in the industry to, to grow the industry. So, how would I say, this series, if you don't think too deep, like don't dip it, don't dip it. Quickly look at it and look away. You will enjoy it. But if you look at it too much, and you will like you feel like if you waste your time because the main character could have just ruined everything. The writing of the main character just ruined everything. But I appreciate the actors for their performances. Like they make it still enjoyable. Do you understand? Make it still enjoyable, and I appreciate them. I really appreciate the actors in this series. Thank you very much. And anyways, it's good for people who are not, if you are not a deep thinker or how will I say it? You're not a film person, but you just watch film to enjoy, not like you don't think about things too deep. So you would enjoy it. So anyways, I think next time we get something better from the director.
All right. Thanks, Dami. Must change. Dami, you want to give us your summary, please?
Yeah. So I think that as usual, Kemi Adetiba's chemistry with her actors is phenomenal. They believe in her, and it shows. They give the character their all, their performances, and for a lot of the actors, they did really really well. And like for me, I felt a bit of like guilt not even loving the series. Like I wanted to love it because of how well I saw, like how much I saw they were giving the acting for a lot of the characters. I felt bad that I didn't love the series. If you want to watch it, watch it. I mean, it's okay to watch if you're bored type thing. If you watch it trying to like, oh, this is a comeback from the director and this is going to wow, perhaps that wouldn't happen. But if you just want something to keep busy for the weekend, it's a good movie for that. Yes, I agree with everybody who said more writers, please. I know collaboration is key for creatives. Like we need to collaborate more. We can't be everything all at once all the time. There are so many culturally relevant parts of the thing that she was trying to do that just because it was under researched, she wasn't even able to develop them. Like yeah, boy culture, fraud culture, it's everywhere. If you live in Lagos, there's so much to pull from, but yet it felt like she built this alternate universe that was unnecessary, where the actions of these people lack grounding and enough cultural reference when there actually is. So just more writers, please, Nollywood. Writers are like the bread and butter, like the story is everything.
All right. Thanks, Dami. Ichena, can't hear you, Ichena. I don't know. Can anyone else hear Ichena?
I cannot hear Uchina.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Ichena. Can't hear you. No, still can't hear you. All right. I guess we'll go. Who's next? That's everybody else, right? Okay, Mrs. C, do you want to?
What about me?
Oh yeah, you can.
No.
Yeah,
I came
sorry.
back and still the same thing you've always done to me, you're doing to me. It's cool.
Don't mind them.
It
Nothing
happened.
changes. Mm-hmm. In the end, oh wait. I was about to say film. The TV series, it was very clear that this time it was written as a TV series, but it is, I would say it is relatively competent. You know, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's not too something. It's just that they made choices that you may think that it's not necessarily the A grade choice. That's for me. We all have our own art is subjective. It is entertaining. It has its low moments, but it's entertaining. So with that said, it's not a bad movie to me. So with that said, If on a Sunday night or whatever night you want to watch a show, you won't be too hungry to watch it. Give it 20, 30 minutes. If you don't like it, there's millions and millions of shows and a lot of movies in this world. Pick one of them. You decide whether it's good or not.
All right. Thanks, Inko. All right, Uchenna, let's try again.
Yeah.
Steve.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I did not like this overall, but I was intermittently entertained by it. Um, it's definitely not made for someone like me, but I would recommend it to somebody who has different sensibilities from me. So I do think it's an admirable piece of work, but I didn't like it personally. It doesn't take away from uh, uh, Kemi's substantial storytelling prowess, but I do wish that she could bring more depth to her work.
All right. Thanks, Uchenna. Mrs. C.
Yeah, it's I think it can be an enjoyable watch if you don't think about it too much. And also if you don't binge it like we ended up having to. I don't think this show was meant to be binged. I think trying to make my way through 8 hours ended up making the last few episodes feel like a chore that I needed to complete rather than something I was watching. So if I had a longer period to watch it, I would have definitely taken breaks and come back to it. And then it wouldn't have felt as, So yeah, watch it, but don't watch it all in one go. Don't think about it too much. The performances were amazing. I really, really did enjoy the performances. Score wasn't great, but overall, yeah, as long as you don't have to get through it in one weekend, it'll be fine.
So this is my fault.
Yeah, 100%. Everything is your fault.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So it's I guess I'm caught between a rock and a hard place because it does have my least favorite Nollywood problem at this time, which is the unlikable protagonist. But it also has right now my favorite character from Nollywood. So, but I think that's probably going to what trumps this and like makes this. It's just maybe I'm going to revisit clips of a lot of Obos's character and a lot of that. I think I will cut them and I will be I will be reposting self. There's just so much that I enjoyed in that from this, but there's so much also that just I didn't care for as well in terms of that it just didn't gel with me in terms of like the investigator and all of that, and then the main character as well just didn't care for it, didn't care for the other Scar, whatever teacher. I didn't care for that, didn't care for his eating, didn't care for a lot of things. But yeah, I almost want, and I'm grateful, but on the other hand, I'm grateful for somebody to give Butchie this chance to absolutely just completely destroy this character, like absolute rinse this character inside and out. So yeah, I guess overall I have to be grateful that this exists because it does have my favorite, Nollywood character in it. So, but yeah, definitely, but not my favorite Nollywood product as a whole. This feels like a mixture between KLB and KLB Volume 2. It has like some of the fat of Volume 2 and a bit more of the cohesiveness of KLB, the first one, but not, it just also has bad elements from both. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, that's it from us today. Oh my goodness, 4 hours, you guys. Well, you guys who have done, we're so back.
But both of you to blame us when Kemi Adetiba is right there to blame.
Yes, we shall not blame my queen, except for the characters.
You
That's
should not blame her for 8 hours. Okay.
Anyway.
Bye, Kwame.
All right. Next weekend on Nollywood Film Club, I believe we are going to be doing the Zikogoko live stuff. It's on YouTube. There's 3 short stories. I think 2 have dropped. So 1 more, which I believe will be dropping next Saturday. And so, if it's not too much work for you guys, I believe these are like around 20 minutes each. 1 hour. So step down from 8 hours. Step down from 8 hours. Step down from 8 hours. So yeah, this should be a fun time. But thanks everybody. We'll discuss that one obviously because those are 3 different directors and different series. We'll discuss them as like 3 different things, not one piece. But yeah, there's going to be a fun time. So yeah, I think this Friday as well. This Friday we're going to be doing I'm going to be doing a interview with the Mommy Dearest, some of the Mommy Dearest cast and crew. I'll let you guys know more about that a little later. Something to watch out for. But yes, everybody who has stayed for the 4 hours, you guys are the real MVPs. Thank you guys. Don't call them jobless. All right, but thank you guys so much. Thank you guys.
This take a lot of job. You know?
We'll speak to you guys next week. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at IrokoCritic and join us every Sunday 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.